Hey guys, good evening and welcome to our Saturday YouTube live conversation. I'm super excited that we're doing this again after 3 weeks. Yes, it's a thrill that we're back again. And yes, I'm glad that we're back and about to discuss a very sensitive conversation. So, yeah, once again, you're all specially welcome. I'm super excited to have you all here. My name is Glory Elijah. This is Frankly Speaking with Glory Elijah. And yes, you're all specially welcome. Anyways, I'm sure that by now you all are fully aware of the Diddy trial that started this week. Um, there's a lot to discuss. I put out a video yesterday highlighting some very crucial elements of Cassie's testimony, which I felt like a lot of people completely missed out on because, as much as there are a lot of people empathizing with Cassie's experience whilst dating Didi for, is it 10 to 11 years, there are still there's still the other crowd of people that have a lot of blame to pass on to her. There are a lot of people that have been criticizing Cassie, her decision to stay with Didi for that long, despite everything that was going on in that relationship. Um, there's also a lot of criticism to Cassie's mom. Yeah, I'm gonna share which angle these people are actually coming from, but it's a whole lot to unpack. And even though I put out a video, I still want to hear from all of you, just as we normally do on here on this channel. So I'm going to go ahead and share the link in the comment section so that anybody that wants to share their opinion about this whole matter, you can do so. All right. I've highlighted a number of things on here, but it's not entirely different from the things that I actually highlighted on my video yesterday. But just for the benefit of refreshing our memories, I'm just going to go over them again. All right. So, I don't know. Okay, fine. Let me put it this way. First off, the trial was not made public. All right, it was not made public. And second of all, I need a lot of people to understand that this is not a trial between Didi and Cassie. No, I think a lot of people have actually gotten it wrong because there's been questions about why is she choosing to come out now to testify against him? Why is she coming out now to sue him? And questions like that. So I think a lot of people need to understand that it's not a trial between like Cassie and just Didi, right? This actually goes beyond what happens between both of them. If you do your research, you will see that they call it the Didi sex trafficking trial, right? So I think it's against Didi and the government, yeah. And Cassie is just one of those, witnesses that has been called to the stand to testify, being a key witness in that particular case. All right. So another thing I need us to understand is in Cassie's testimony, there are elements of control and manipulation. Yeah. Now, I wasn't in court. There was no direct visual from inside the courts. It's more like a very private type of thing. I heard that cameras are not allowed to record, right? So basically, what's been going on is people who were able to attend this case, I mean, these proceedings, they would, give transcriptions of everything that actually happened inside the court. Okay, so this is me paraphrasing everything that has been shared. And thanks to those who have been feeding the public with everything that has been said verbatim, right? These are the things that I was able to deduce that um, there are elements of control and manipulation, right? Um, there's the element of grooming there. I mentioned that on my video. There's the element of love bombing. Okay. There's elements of physical, verbal, and emotional abuse in a very high degree. Right. And she gave a lot of details, very graphic details, lot of very strong descriptions of everything that happened in her 10 to 11 years relationship with Diddy. Okay. So I'm just going to hold on right there because I really want to hear from all of you. So I will go ahead and share the link to this conversation in the comment section below. If you would love to share your thoughts, please go ahead, click on the link, and come on here to share. I see you, Erica. I see you, CV Way, Annie J. Thank you so much for joining. You are especially welcome to the conversation. So the link to the conversation is in there in the comment section. If you want to share, just go ahead and you know click to speak. All right. Yeah. So whilst we're waiting for people to click the link to come onto the stage to speak, I want to share that um, I want to share from the many criticisms that Cassie has received so far. So there are a lot of accusations, or should I say speculations, that she actually stayed for the fame, she stayed for the money, she stayed for the perks of being a P Diddy girlfriend. You know, because of how big and influential he is in the American music industry, that Cassie wanted to experience all of that. So she stayed willingly. That in the 10 to 11 years of our relationship with this man, that there were a lot of opportunities for her to have left, for her to have said, okay, you know what, enough is enough. I am no longer going to put up with all of this mess. That there were a lot of chances for her to have left. So the big question from all of these critics is, why did she continue to stay? And the good thing is, Cassie actually answered that question during her testimony in the number of days that she took to the stand in court. According to her, there are a number of reasons, right? She genuinely loved him right from the very get go of their relationship. She loved him. She wanted she wanted more from the relationship in terms of um, them being together just exclusively. But then Didi will come up with things like, oh, you're boring, you're unadventurous, you don't like trying new things. And so in order to um like get more of his affection, she tried doing any and everything that he wanted. And so he taught her how to do oral sex. And then from the orals, it graduated to voyeurism. Yeah. From voyeurism, which was more like a twist, because it wasn't a thing of both of them watching other people actually doing the deed. It was a thing of um, her doing the deed whilst he watched and masturbated, getting a kick off watching her sleeping with other people. There was also the part where he would ensure that she was the one that prepared everything, down to making all the arrangements, as well as selecting the kind of men that she will engage in those sexual acts with. Now, if you think about it, in a way, it kind of seemed like he gave her control over the situation. But, ladies and gentlemen, we know that that was not him giving her control. Because while she was engaged in those sexual acts with those people, Didi was masturbating and also filming the entire process. Hence the numerous clips, or rather videos, that he has of all of those freak-offs. Now, from voyeurism, the whole thing, you know, escalated, also graduated to orgies, which today we know as Didi's freak-offs. And according to Cassie's testimony, these freak-offs usually last for hours, for days. That the longest freak-off, I think she said, was about 4 days, which is quite cringe, ladies and gentlemen, because if you think about it, it's guys, it doesn't, I can't even imagine, it doesn't really make sense, you know. engaging in sexual activities for an entire day, not to talk of extending it to 4 days. Non like nah. And from her testimony, there are times when she will pass out and she will wake up and then they will have to continue. Even when she was on a period, right? Even when she was on a period, they would have to continue like that. And so it went on and on and on. And it made me wonder about her state of mind during those times, which she still shared anyways. According to her, the only way she could protect herself, like, guys, I'm trying to really get her exact words. The only way she could really harden herself to that situation was immersing herself in the drugs. So yes, he introduced her to drugs. There was a lot of drug abuse in that relationship. He introduced her to drugs. The many things that he introduced her to, he also introduced her to drugs. And so those drugs became an addiction. It became a source of solace, you know, to help us stay what's that word now, to help us stay what's this state of not being able to feel anything, numb. Yes, to help us stay numb whenever that situation was happening. So it was a whole lot. It was a whole lot. And guys, if you think about the process with which this whole thing started, to how it grew big, bigger than even Cassie herself, guys, it started from somewhere. This guy met this girl when she was only 19. Only 19. Now, before we even continue with this part of the conversation, the critics out there, people who have been criticizing Cassie's testimony, they were also dragging her for leaving a relationship that she was in with another music executive, you know, to moving on to Diddy. Now, the way they put it is that she cheated on this guy because the guy was poor, because he did not have what Diddy had. He wasn't even up to what Diddy was at the time. And so she had cheated on this guy and had moved on to Diddy. Yeah. So there's another question that these critics are asking, that how is it that a young girl of 19 got this level of freedom to move around the music industry like that, dating this music executive, to this music executive, and even traveling to Las Vegas, all in the guise of making an appearance for a show, but traveling to go and hook up with Diddy in Las Vegas. So, to some extent, these critics are actually blaming Diddy's, rather Cassie's mom, her family, because they are asking a very vital question here. That okay, how is it that this girl is already this exposed to this kind of lifestyle in the music industry, and her family are not even aware? How? And guys, yes, as much as these people are actually criticizing Cassie's testimony, that's a very valid question. I would really love for any of you to react to that. All right. But the one thing I keep on telling myself is it doesn't matter the what ifs, to be honest, because everything happened according to how Cassie described it. What happened, happened, right? So, what really matters that people should really focus on are the impact of all of those things, the impact, the result, and those details that cannot be ignored. Because according to not only Cassie's testimony, according to the many testimonies out there, and talking about testimonies, we're talking about testimonies that date back to 2 years ago, 3 years ago, because people prior to now, prior to this trial, people have been coming out randomly to give, to grant interviews, to tell of their little experiences, where they had actually partied with Diddy and Cassie, where they had encountered this two, at either Diddy's parties, his white or white party, or maybe somewhere else, and they had actually noticed the strangeness of their relationship, that they had actually seen that, okay, fine, there's actually something abnormal going on between these two people. So prior to now, there's already been glaring interviews out there, and those interviews are resurfacing now on the internet, guys. You need to check them out, right? But as I said, there are a lot of testimonies about the fact that in that said relationship, there was a lot of abuse, verbal abuse. There was a lot of physical abuse. I mean, there's a 15 minutes video circulating the internet. I actually attached a part of that video to my video yesterday. I'm sure a lot of you must have seen it already. Yeah. So the 15 minutes video that clearly shows how toxic that relationship was, that clearly shows that Cassie was actually abused, not just once, not twice, but a multitude of different occasions. There are scars on her face, on her body, to show that, yes, indeed, that relationship was very, very physically abusive. It was verbally abusive. And there was a lot of threats too, which is another part that, these critics are overlooking. There was a lot of threats. According to Cassie's testimony, there were times when she would want to leave. There were times when she would not pick his calls. There were times when she would deliberately, want to run away or something. And this guy would call like consistently. It's either he would be calling like a crazy person, or his security would be calling like a crazy person, or the people working for him would be blasting her phone with phone calls. And if at all she picks, they'll tell her, oh, Mr. Sean wants you to come to the house right now. Like it's like a right now type of situation. And Diddy would continue like that. If at all she wanted to leave, there were threats. Oh, if you say something, or if you leave, oh, your videos will be leaked. Then there's also the other part where Diddy's defense lawyers, they are coming up with this theory that that relationship was actually a consensual lifestyle, that Cassie is trying to paint herself the victim, but in the real sense, she is not the victim. That in the actual sense, she enjoyed the lifestyle. And then they backed it up with a number of text messages that has been exchanged between these two people. Text messages showing where Cassie has said, oh, I can't wait to freak off again. I miss you, that type of thing. Diddy telling her, oh, when you're ready, just hit me up and we're gonna get it happening. So they are using such text messages exchanged between both of them as proof that Cassie actually enjoyed whatever was going on between herself and Diddy. That Cassie was only jealous of Diddy's different relationships that he had with other people. Now, in Cassie's testimonies, she actually admitted that, yes, indeed, she was actually jealous of the fact that despite Diddy being with her, he had relationships with other women. That, yes, she was jealous of those relationships because there were things that he was making her do, which obviously he wasn't really doing with those women. Although we can't really tell, right? Because we're not there. But then, her showing that she enjoyed everything that was going on between them in the latter years of their relationship, it was more of her trying to play safe with him. Because according to her, the guy had a very unhinged and unstable behavior. He was so abusive and violent in a way that if he was upset about anything, he could just turn around and smack her. She was like the scapegoat that he used to vent his anger. If people upset him, maybe he was on a business phone call and something was not going the way he wanted it, he would turn around and smack her. If she wasn't looking, like if her face wasn't positioned the way he wanted, if she wasn't smiling the way he wanted, he would just, yell at her, oh, fix your face. Or he would outrightly smack her face. There was a lot of slaps, there was a lot of punches, there was a lot of pulling of her hair, dragging of her hair, like we saw on that video. That wasn't the first time that was happening. There was a lot of kicking her in the belly, there was a lot of brutalizing that happened not just in private between both of them, but also in the presence of other people, in the presence of strangers. And there are witnesses that have actually been sharing these stories, these encounters over the years in some of their interviews, and people listen to them and think that they're actually crazy. But these are things that they said that they witnessed. There was one that I was watching before I came onto this live, that the person said they actually witnessed him beating the hell out of this girl. And when it was done, he told them that, oh, they are fine, that is just the way they intensely love each other. And they should keep quiet. It would be in their own good if they shut up about what they saw there that day. That if they talked, oh, from where, according to this particular testimony I was listening to, the person said that, oh, Diddy told them that, oh, where if you say anything, where I'm from, people actually disappear for talking. And so they were given flowers, or is it roses? And you know what that means, roses. It's like, oh, it's your funeral. So if you talk, just consider yourself dead. And this is me putting roses on your grave or your tombstone. So, guys, it's actually a lot to take in, a lot, you know. But what I don't really get is why these critics are not choosing to, you know, listen to the things that actually really happened according to how not only Cassie but also these other witnesses, how they've actually, testified. Why people are not really paying attention to these details, why people are not really thinking about the whys Cassie stayed in that relationship. A lot of people believe that when a lot of people actually believe that every woman that has been through what Cassie went through, according to how she, described it, every woman that has been through what Cassie went through in a relationship with someone like Diddy, who is very rich, very influential and affluential, that they were there because of the money, because of what they stand to benefit. That's what they believe. But it makes me wonder that do they actually understand that when a narcissist is with a very, let's say, a gullible person or an empath, a narcissist always knows how to manipulate an empath, the way they think, the way they feel, the way they see life. I don't know if they understand that narcissists turned abusers always know how to manipulate their victims. And the thing about victims is that they are so scared. They are so scared. They are so frightened of their abuser. They are so scared of their situation. They are scared of leaving, possibly because of the many threats and, blackmail going on in that relationship, to the point that whenever their abuser decides to be nice to them, briefly nice to them, they heave a huge sigh of relief. And it makes them want to be good. I want to be a good girl. I want to be a good boy so that he or she does not get angry anymore at me. So their abuser is so good at playing mind games, And he's also very good at maybe love bombing or whatever, brainwashing them. So they believe very strongly that, oh, maybe it's my fault that this person is always angry. Maybe if I act right, maybe if I behave myself better, maybe if I if I do better, if I be a good girl or a good boy, depending on the gender of the person that's the victim, right? Or maybe if I do well and stop provoking this person, maybe I'll be rewarded. Maybe I'll be rewarded with more love, with more attention, with more kindness and niceness. And you see, that was what was going on in Cassie and Diddy's relationship. There was a lot of highs and lows. Of course, he'll probably take her shopping, right? He'll probably give her the good things of life, but would deprive her of his utmost attention. And that she would crave that attention. And then when she misses that attention, he would want her to do more of those freak offs as a reward, or, for and his attention will be the reward, right? And according to Cassie's testimony, guys, this is so fucked up. According to Cassie's testimony, yeah, she engaged in most of those freak offs because one, sometimes she can't get out of it because for him, there is no with Diddy. You can't say no to Diddy. There's no way you will say no to Diddy and escape it alive. So that one is there. Number two, there's a love bombing involved, the promises of greater heights, the promises of, oh, I'll always love you, I'll always be there for you, blah, blah, blah. So many promises, right? So that is another way for him to get into her head, get into her feelings, and then she's like, oh, this guy really loves me. And then she goes back to him. And then the third thing is, according to her testimony, the third thing is the freak offs were another way for her to have that alone, intimate time with him. Now, how did these freak offs go? Of course, he would want her to get freaky with people while he watched, masturbated, made videos of them engaging in that act. And then it is only when she's done with whoever was there or whichever people were there, he will now take her with him. And then they will go and have sex alone. So that is when they have their own private, intimate session. So I don't know if you guys understand what's going on here. There's a lot of mental, psychological, emotional manipulation involved. And you see, one thing people don't understand is mental manipulation is very real and it's very deep. The moment an individual falls victim into such a situation, even if the abuser points a gun to your face that they will kill you, you will find the victim going on their knees, begging for mercy, to be there, to, okay, don't worry, I'll be good, I'll be good. It's real. A lot of people say, oh, why didn't she just walk away? Why didn't she just run away? Okay, so I think there was a point in a testimony where it had been mentioned that Diddy had moved to another state to be closer to his kids. And then she had, she had moved to that same state, lived like a couple houses close to his just to be around him. And people were like, oh, that was an opportunity for her to have escaped. But then I'm thinking, well, nobody knows exactly what was going on in that relationship. Remember, this guy has so many things on this girl. Videos of her getting messed up. Videos of her getting messed up. Videos of her getting peed on. She mentioned during her testimony that there was a time when Diddy and this particular escort were peeing on her face, peeing in her mouth to the point that she started to choke. The annoying part of those sessions is, even though it seems like Cassie wants to die, they will allow her to take a breather for a bit and then she has to continue. And I'm looking at this woman's picture and I'm thinking, this girl is so tiny. She's so tiny, she's so petite, she's so skinny, and she had to go through all of that for that number of years. That is sick. So I mentioned before that Diddy's lawyers, they are trying to establish a case of consensual lifestyle. They're trying to establish that Cassie was equally abusive to Diddy, which is very funny to me because it's like an abuser abusing his or her victim. And then the day the victim decides to fight back or strike back, they call it abuse. That's so fucked up. The moment the victim decides to strike back, they call it abuse. How? Crazy. They call it abuse. How is that abuse? Oh, these lawyers are saying that Cassie is very jealous, very possessive, wanted Diddy all to himself. Guys, it's a lot. But I'm just going to stop talking here because I really want to hear from all of you. We have Queen Omo here. Let's hear from Queen. Hello.
Hello. Hello.
You're welcome. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Long time.
Sis, my mind is messed up, but you're welcome.
Oh, thank you. Where do I start? Where do I start? Where do I start? I think in this case, two things can be true at once.
Mm-hmm.
And you know a case is bad because okay, first thing first, I want you guys to understand something. I've been following this Diddy case for a very long time because I never really liked Diddy in the first place. But I hope you people know, Kwe, one of his lawyers that quit on the case was the one that this man quit the case, but this lawyer had a reputation because he was the lawyer that that represented Osama bin Laden versus America. And this man quit. You, I don't think you understand. This man quit. He said, "I'm not doing."
No.
He said, "I'm not doing." I said, okay. I said, okay, this is getting interesting. Okay, so let me start with Cassie. Cassie messed up in a lot of things. And why I say that there's two truths to each thing is because, yes, Diddy was abusive, but also Cassie was not a victim as she's portraying to be. And the reason why I say that is because couple of things. A lot of her no, first of all, the biggest mistake she made was that. Remember, I want to give you guys a brief context. When Cassie sued him last year, was it last year? She sued him last year. She did not sue Diddy himself. She sued his whole company. And just because not in America, not like the way Nigeria work, in America, when somebody is a business owner, not only you have that business. You get what I'm saying? So
Hmm.
she sued the entity that was Diddy himself, all his businesses. That was number
Hmm.
one. Number two, when she sued the business, immediately she sued the business. I think like three businesses of his that he was CEO of, they dropped him that same week because they were just like, nah, 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 we cannot be losing money. You get what I'm saying? So
Hmm.
the thing that is not making this case very interesting is the fact that number one, Cassie contradicted herself. No, first of all, the fact that she took the money that they gave, I think it was like 20 million. She took the money. You get what I'm saying? That was number one.
Hmm.
Number two, you went to go and testify. Bear in mind, it wasn't her fault. She had to testify
She
because
was subpoenaed.
the FBI subpoenaed her. You get what I'm saying? She had to
Yes.
testify. But my own thing is that I have a couple things. One thing is that I've watched a lot of videos in the past. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I watched a lot of video in the past. And one thing that people have said about Cassie is that she and Diddy live the same lifestyle. You get what I'm saying? Live the
Hmm.
same lifestyle. But at the same time, even if me and my man live the same lifestyle, sometimes there's a difference between abuse and consent. You get what I'm saying? And that was
Mm-hmm.
where the thing blurred in Diddy and Cassie's case. That's number. I don't know. I've lost the number. But the thing also is that Sean did what's it called? There was a thing I was reading. Here's the thing. There was a couple of because I like to read a lot and I read and technically speaking, if I want to use a degree, I'm a therapist. Like I'm a therapist. So the thing is that Cassie was groomed. You get what I'm saying? She met this man when she
Mm-hmm.
was 17. She dated him for 11 years. And
Was it
when,
17 or 19?
let's just say, but she was still underage.
Yeah.
She was still underage. Like, that's the thing. America be saying that 18 is the legal age. 18 is a baby. What is a 50-year-old man doing with an 18-year-old? I never understood that. But okay, so I digress. But okay, he groomed her. He groomed her. So she didn't know better. You get what I'm saying? It's like, for example, a man picks an 18-year-old. What case can I put to this? Annie DBI. Yes, that's the perfect person. Two-Face groomed Annie. But nobody wants to talk about that.
Mm.
You met her when she was 15. My nigga, you were 20 something. So let's be very honest. That is the thing. Because the thing is that everybody can sit here and say everything. Cassie was groomed. And when you groom somebody, you groom them to your liking. You become, if you look
Mm-hmm.
at Cassie, if you want me to diagnose Cassie, she's a people pleaser. She wanted to please Diddy. That's the thing. She
Yeah.
had love, she loved her abuser. And then at the same time, she was afraid of him because you could see the messages. You saw the videotape that was given out. You get what I'm saying? And the
Mm-hmm.
reason why that videotape even came out was because police officer wanted to go do a proco for his wife and then turn to another thing. But a lot of factors played into it. The reason why I don't think Cassie should have testified is because now the question is because I've been watching social media. I stay off of TikTok because I feel like TikTok be like people be feeling like they know everything. Because the thing now is that people don't find they find her contradicting because there was messages that backed it up. There was messages that was telling people that, oh, I wanted the free calls. But at the same time, I think people are forgetting that this guy was beating her ass. You get what I'm saying? If
Mm-hmm.
she said, it's like, for example, I'm in an abusive relationship. And my guy, obviously, if you're in an abusive relationship, you're afraid of the person. You have
Of
Stockholm
course.
syndrome, and you're doing this. Let me make something clear to you today. Let me make it clear to you today. Diddy, if I was Diddy, I would not go down for this alone. You want to know? You want to? No, because I want you to understand. Glory, you are my girl. You are very intelligent. That's why I bang with you. Let's think about this very well. Have you seen any celebrity talk about this case at all?
They've been hush hush.
Because couple of reasons why. You know the day I'm praying for. You know that Jay-Z, he needs to go down. You see how Diddy, they packaged his own. Diddy, no, because the thing is that people are looking at different celebrities. They're not looking. All the celebrities, Diddy has them shook right now. Diddy and Mumuo, I will bring everybody down. Let me tell you, let me make something. I will bring everybody down because a lot of people were in the freak offs. Even our faves was there. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You did not see the list of witnesses. Chris Brown was supposed to be on there, but he was there because Diddy threatened him on top Cassie. You get what I'm saying? Everybody. But what I'm saying is that I digress from this. What I'm trying to say is that Cassie, people on social media are divided because they're saying that she's an accomplice and she's a victim at the same time. I think she's both. I think there was a lot of things she's telling because the thing is that she also shot herself on the foot because she was like telling stories about how like she tried to move on from Diddy. So that one that she said that she tried to move on, they were not saying that okay, so he was not holding you hostage. You get what I'm saying? But then at the same time, Diddy held her in a lot of positions in terms of he was financially abused. You know that when somebody's abusive, it not be just physical. There's physical, mental, financial. She was rich. Diddy's very rich. Uncle Diddy
Mm-hmm.
has plenty money. You get what I'm saying? And so he's very rich. So he controlled a lot of things. He controlled her music career. He controlled a lot of things. If she wanted a haircut, Uncle wanted a Barbie doll. You get what I'm saying? Uncle wanted a Barbie doll. But then a couple years ago, that's the thing. If people Here's the thing when it comes to this Diddy case, Diddy has always been evil. People just do not know it. When Kim died, when his ex-wife died, did he even marry her? When she died, right? There was an article that came out because me, I be watching blogs, I be reading, and they said that one of Kim's best friend, said that Cassie watched Diddy beat Kim and she did not do anything. She was laughing, and I'm just like, what did you expect her to do? What did you expect her to do? What did you expect her to do?
I mean, for someone that's also going through the same thing, that's probably received a lot of beating and threats, what did they think she could do?
No, but what happened in that situation? If you want me to be from a therapist standpoint, is that Sometimes female, it's like, for example, a girl is telling her friends that, oh, no, just a bad example, but a friend, I mean, like, it's like I'm complaining to people that my man is trash, that my man is not good. And then one of my friends betrayed me and go and date him, and she thought that he was gonna treat her better. No, it wasn't. You thought you were a hot cake and he could teach you, like he would not treat you. That's the thing. People need to understand. Cassie went through a lot in that relationship. You're playing with Diddy. Diddy is very evil, very wicked though. I'm just trying to tell you, I just want you to understand. I want you to prepare your mind. In America, a trial takes many years for people to do. You get what I'm saying? It takes many years. Because one
Mm.
of my security at my job was just like, yo, my cousin is on death. I mean, he's on prison. He's waiting for trial for 6 years. How did he get quit? Because the FBI got involved.
Mm.
And FBI got involved. Do you hear what I'm saying? The FBI got involved. A lot of things happened. Cassie, if it were me, listen, with the money she collects, I would be on an island in Bali minding my goddamn business. You hear what I'm saying? And just watch him. But also, Gloria, I want you to understand something also. The reason why all of this is happening now is because in America, every celebrity, anybody they deal with, interact with, has an NDA. But NDA has a ending period. The day
Mm.
Cassie's own ended was when she brought out that lawsuit. You get what I'm saying? And as
Mm.
people's NDA, because after it ends, you're supposed to renew. I don't think Uncle Lightspeed he needed to renew. So now he's being casted and down, like everything like that. But what I'm saying is that at this stage, Cassie, that's the thing. At this stage, abuse is abuse. She was abused. She was everything. Okay, she might have been on drugs. She might have done a lot of things. But at the same time, Diddy, you created a monster. What did you expect? You had people peeing in her mouth or peeing on her.
Mhm.
No, you get what I'm saying? People peed on her
Mhm.
and everything. And you thought that was okay. I was see, here's the thing. This is where Cassie got me fucked up. I'm sorry. There was some things that she was saying in there with her ex-husband. That was never going to be me. You get what I'm saying? Like that P1, that golden shower, it would go to hell with me. Because what? Pardon me? But at the same time, the thing is that, just to sum it all up, because I know that other people want to talk. Number one, Cassie was a victim. Number two, she was an accomplice to an extent also. But at the third thing is that she just loved him. Love is blind. Love don't know sense sometimes. Because I know that, Glory, you know some couples that you're just like, how are you people together? But they're happy
Hey.
or whatever. So, number three, love doesn't know stupidity. Number four, she was young. She doesn't know better. You get what I'm saying? She doesn't know better. Because people need to understand that. Even though you can tell on that stand in the truck way, she still loves him. You get what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Because she's used to that lifestyle. She's used to that. She's finally just trying to find her peace. Okay, some of the things might be consensual, some of the text messages, but at the same time, with the person she's dealing with, if Diddy call you at 4 o'clock in the morning and say, come and do a freak off, what's it called? Come and do a freak off. They're
Mhm.
not born out where to say no.
Mhm.
She has to play
Mm.
along with it. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The guys that she tried to talk to, she blew up one of them's cars. What do you want her to
Mhm.
do? She was stuck.
Queen, I want to ask you a question. I'm really glad that having this conversation with you as one who is a therapist here.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a comment I saw on Twitter. You know, the person was like, people claiming Cassie was groomed from the age of 19. How about when she was 25, 30? She was still with this guy. Why didn't she leave? Why didn't she move away? And for me, I'm thinking, just mentally responding to that person's tweet, that I strongly believe that grooming does not have an age restriction. Even a full blown adult can be groomed. But I want to hear your opinion about that as a therapist. What do you think?
No, she was groomed and she doesn't know better. Okay, let me tell you something. In society, that's the thing. Let me be technical. Let me start using names. A lot of these celebrity couples that you see, they were groomed to begin with. You hear what I'm saying? Cassie
Hmm.
was groomed. Kimora Lee Simmons was groomed.
At
Everything.
15.
Yeah, no, but you need to understand the way grooming works is that the way grooming works. is basically simple. Actually, let me use myself as an example. So I'm a plus size girl, right? I'm a plus size girl. I started my period when I was 10, and I have the nyash, I have the hips, I have the breast, everything. When I was 16 years old, my audience for men was 35 years or older.
Wow.
Not because I'm that type of girl, but because that was literally what was coming to me. There was one of them that this man looked me in the eye and was just like, I will wait till you grow up. I want you. And that man got me everything. Remember, he's one of my father's friends, though.
Mm.
But you get the concept. What I'm trying to say is that grooming does not know age. Bear in mind, what's it called? The context that people use in grooming, especially these Hollywood girls, is that these are girls from different countries. If you look at Cassie, Cassie's not American. She's foreign. She came here. She probably did not have any money. How do people groom girls? She doesn't have money. They start giving her money. She starts sleeping over. They start treating her well. They start doing this. They start doing that. It becomes a thing. She doesn't know better, because one thing about it's like asking somebody, how did you stay in a 30-year relationship that was loveless? Because I stayed there because I didn't know better. I didn't know better. I didn't know what was better. You know that when they groom in every aspect. Like they were
Mm-hmm.
grooming her. He was grooming her to be his liking. He was feeding her lies, feeding her a lot of things, and that's the reality of it. Any age can be groomed. Not every
Mm-hmm.
girl's mental maturity is different. You get what I'm saying? Like, you hear what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Like, I have a rule. I don't do domestic violence with guys. Even if a guy pissed me off, I cannot slap you, because if you slap me, somebody's gonna die, and it's not going to be me. You get what I'm saying? But I
Mm.
already made that rule. People are different. Look at Diddy. You saw the video of her beating. He beat her well. If that was just a video, what else was there? You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Also, another fact that I want you guys to understand is that Diddy is on heavy drugs. Cassie was on heavy drugs too, and you know it was bad. Another thing that made Cassie's case really terrible was simply because he literally said in the text message that she was on drugs and he was trying to get her help, that she was addicted. So now it's just like what's going on here?
But then there's the part where, see, this is where this grooming also comes in, right? Cassie was obviously not on drugs when Diddy met her. She did not have a drug problem. She did not have an alcohol problem. So she met this guy, and this guy molded her into his lifestyle. He molded her, like panel beat her into what he preferred, right? And so that's the thing about molding someone or grooming someone. They become what you want, and sometimes it becomes the extreme. You want someone loyal, so you groom the person into being a ride or die. Whatever happens, they are loyal. And so it becomes extreme. So, yes, Cassie admitted during her testimony that she was using those drugs to stay numb to whatever was going on in that relationship, even during the freak offs. So him now sending a message or whatever was going on at the time, but him saying he wanted to help her get help because she had a drug problem. I mean, don't you see how dicey that was?
No, but it's the same thing with Annie Dibia. Let's use Annie because she's the perfect. Annie's case is similar to Cassie's case. The only difference is she didn't have a baby for him. Let's be very honest. Let's be honest. It's the same thing because Annie on Young Famous in Africa, the latest season, you can tell glaring that she had a drug problem. Did I lie?
Looks like it.
You can't no, you can tell because if like I'm trying to tell you, babe, I know people that smoke Igbo and stuff like that. Like I work with addiction people too. She was showing a sign that she was addicted. Annie did not begin like that. She did not begin like that. She was groomed, she was disrespected, she was abused, she wanted to do everything. That's the thing. People need to understand that when it comes to grooming, most of the time, most of the freaking time, abusing, I mean, people that are groomed also have an obsession personality where they're obsessed with who. Annie is very much, I mean, I don't know about now. I think she's being forced to move on, not because she wants to. But I think Annie was very obsessed with Two-Face. But what exactly did she gain in the relationship? He disrespected the fuck out of you. Your first kid, I mean, his fifth kid was your first kid, and you've been with him since 15. What exactly was there? So she started doing drugs, started drinking, and started doing all these things. And what's it called? She started doing all of these things because she wanted to numb the pain. She was getting disrespected, probably getting different STDs, STIs, everything like that, and she just wanted to numb it. That's the thing with this. What's it called? It's called Stockholm syndrome. That's when you're trying to
Mm-hmm.
you just accept your reality and you try to move forward to it. For God's sake, if Diddy, she had a freak off for 4 days.
Hmm.
4 days, my nigga. I don't think I understand. 4 days of constant
That's a
sex.
long time.
That's a long time. I don't care how high I am.
Mhm.
Four
Okay.
days. Okay.
Okay, Omo. Let's hear from Mabato. Mabato is also on the live,
Okay, I'll
and
be
please,
back.
this is all right. Thank you, Mabato. You're especially welcome to the conversation. How are you?
Hi, sis. I'm good, thanks, and yourself.
I'm okay. Thank you.
Oh.
Sis,
Ooh. Oh my
hectic,
goodness. It
hectic. What
is.
do you think about the criticisms on Cassie's testimony? Because a lot of people are bashing her from left, right, and center, even involving the mom, that the mom was a bad parent. What do you think?
I mean, like the previous speaker said, there's two sides to the story, right?
Yeah.
Um, Two things can be right at the same time. And it didn't help, just looking at this whole law trial going on, it didn't help that even the defense attorneys had texts between them, right? So the defense brought out the texts, and it was just like, "Ugh, but Cassie, you said this, um I think one of the things that for the critics on this situation is that you were not in her shoes. You were not in
Mm,
her shoes. You did not
mm,
experience the things that she experienced. This is a
yeah.
person that said that she did not know a lot of these things that were introduced to her.
Yeah.
None of those things. She did not know anything about um, bringing in somebody so that your man can see you have sex with that person. And you when what is this, when they first started out, they first met when she was young, right? And then
Mhm,
he in a way kept her in his circle so that she can see her future, her potential future with him, so that by the time that they started dating, it would become normal for her.
mm,
Because tell me why he would he would beat up his ex in front of her. That was
mm,
to show Cassie, to show her with her own eyes that I am making you numb to these things so that by the time I come to you, you do not have the right to complain, because you can see that this other woman is not complaining.
mm,
And then it comes to a point where she spoke about how their first kiss was on her 21st birthday and it was a force.
mm,
But then it's like I can't react because you threw me this whole party, and there are celebrities I've never been in a room with, and therefore I have to, compose myself and just accept this as it is. It is grooming. It is
mhm,
really, really grooming to the high, because if it was not grooming, he himself would have went out to find a prostitute to sleep with her in a way to
mhm,
force her. But what he had initially done was that he made her an accomplice
mhm,
to the act.
Exactly.
He made her an accomplice to the act. He got her to the point that she's saying that you are now fully a participant in my own desires, and my desires will fulfill your desires.
Exactly.
Can I tell you also, I've always found their relationship to be weird.
Mm.
For some reason, I've always found it to be weird, also because of the age gap. It was too huge for my
Mm-hmm.
liking. The fact that even Cassie, she was so soft and so, I don't know, man. It just felt wrong. You know, when there's like an intuition about like a person and you just feel like it's
Mm-hmm.
wrong. That's how it always felt. And when we see that video and people still judge her for being there, I don't get it. I
Crazy.
don't get it. This person wanted to fight a freak off, yeah, escape from this freak offs or whatever. And when she
Mm-hmm.
did, she got beaten to a pulp.
Dragged across the hall.
Dra- across. Are they listening? Are people listening to
That's
the testimony
insane.
that this woman is saying? Because I feel like they don't. Did she do things? Does she have a hand in certain things that have happened to her? Yes. In a way, she will have to take some sort of responsibility so
Mm.
that she can also be able to move on. And what responsibility am I talking about? The responsibility of saying that I let my dreams be the forefront instead of me saying no the moment that he asked for certain things,
Mm.
right? And when she recounted the story about when they met up and then they had dinner and then she broke up with him, and then now and then they went to her house, and then at that house, what is it? He raped her,
Yeah, I ripped her.
right? So she will also have to take account because those are the things that people are going to use against her to
Mm.
say that Cassie, you did this. We understand. You see, Diddy is a pig. Like, there's no doubt that he is a pig. He is the bottom of the scum that there is right there. Like, he is just dirty. Now the concern is that now the husband has to hear this. The world is hearing this, and there will be judgment on it. Do
Mm.
I generally do not understand why so much harshness is on her. That's my own thing. Yes, you can have your opinion, but let the girl tell her story the way that she experienced her story.
Mm-hmm.
When she says, "Oh, lol, lol, yeah, lol," I will be there. We'll plan another one. Those psychologists can tell you that those are the mechanisms of coping.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the things like I've like when someone makes a weird comment sometimes, and I like this guy, and I used to do this a lot, and then it made me so uncomfortable. I would just be like, "Oh lol, yeah, it's funny. I mean, we can try that if that's what you want."
Mm.
Or what more of a person that's in an abusive relationship?
Mm.
You understand? There are different layers to this thing. But what I do want people to understand is that the federal charges against Diddy themselves, the reason that Cassie also has to tell her story is to build up on the charges that Diddy is being charged with. Remember, he's being
Mm.
charged with racketeering, he's being charged with sex trafficking, he's being charged with transportation of people. Sex and all of that. So right
Mm.
now with Cass's story is that they have established that there has been some trafficking, because then he would take these prostitutes, he blinds people, they moving from one state to another with the purpose of
Yeah.
having sex, right? So
Yeah.
whatever stories that Cassie and all these other witnesses that are gonna come will build on that case. The
Mm.
one that will be an issue will be the racketeering, because the racketeering was created in order to catch mob bosses, which means that it's a group of people, and Diddy is only one man. So I think when Cassie, I'm not sure how the prosecutors will handle this, but when Cassie did not sue Diddy straight, but sued the companies. The prosecutor might say that those organizations were involved with the activities that Diddy did.
No, but Diddy
So
did not do all of these alone. There was another video I
yes,
saw earlier today where he had a right hand woman. There was a video of him celebrating the woman, and then there was this guy in the Diddy documentary that came out sometime. Was it early this year? That they had people. So Diddy was more like telling these people what he wanted. Their job was to make it happen. So there were
yes.
people he delegated this task to. So Diddy was
Hmm.
more like, if we're going to look at it from the angle of a mob situation, it was like Diddy
Yes.
was the boss of it all. Of course, indeed, he was the boss, so he wasn't really working alone at
Working.
home. Yeah.
Mm. That's true. So, but in how they have set it up, from my understanding, watching all these lawyers coming into debate and all of that, they're saying that, and how I've read it, it's that it really needs to be a proper organization, you know,
Hmm.
for them to actually be able to prove the racketeering charge. But for
Yeah.
everything else, with Cass's stories with the drugs and all of that, it is clear as day that those charges they can do that. And also, we also know that he's not actually being charged with Cass's abuse.
Hmm.
That's what he's not because that one has passed. Its
Hmm.
statutory limit has passed. That's why Cassie did not go through the law route. She went through the civil lawsuit, because with civil lawsuit you can even still sue somebody for things that happened 20, 50 years ago, should the statutory limit passed, and then you
Hmm.
can do that.
Hmm.
So, but yeah, all I want to say in conclusion is that, can he go to jail? Can he please go to jail? That's all I'm asking. Can he please go to jail? We don't
Hmm.
want another Harvey. What is this? Einstein? No, no, not Harvey Weinstein. Not Harvey, because Harvey has his trial is now coming into New York again. There's this other one. Epstein. Epstein. Yes. Epstein. We don't want another Epstein situation. We don't want to hear that he killed himself, he unalived himself. Now people who were involved, now documents cannot be released. Everybody must just come out. He must go to
Yeah.
jail. The people involved must go to jail. Everybody who was part of that ring and everything must just go to jail. It's disgusting, honestly.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Mabatu. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you, sis.
sharing. Thank you. All right.
Bye.
Thank you. All right. Let's hear from OV. OV man. I hope I got that right. OV, you're welcome.
Yes, yes, my sister Glory. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. You're welcome to the conversation. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine. Thank you so much. How are you too? I hope
Good,
you're
good.
fine.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm
So,
fine. Thank you.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you so much. Well, it's good to see you back in the live. Sometimes when I check and I don't see your notification on Saturdays, maybe doing like a live, I usually feel like, there's something missing about that day. So yeah, it's a great thing you're doing. Continue,
Thank you.
and God will continue to strengthen you, help you, and grant you
Amen.
favors. Yeah,
Amen. Thank you.
yeah, yeah. So the DD case, to be honest,
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people are beginning to get more understanding of the case, and to be honest, though, first of all, um everyone knows Didi. Nobody can actually make a moral argument for Didi, to be honest. Everybody
Mm.
knows the kind of lifestyle he has been living. The man literally called his entertainment company Bad Boy Records. So he's not he's not something of he's telling people that he's a saint and he's doing something behind the scenes. He
Yes.
calls himself Bad Boy Records. You could see him if there's one thing people could won't take away from him, uh, is that he has never disguised himself as a saint. Even those freak offs, their pictures, he used to tell. There was a video I saw of him. where it was announcing in I think they have like up to 3 or 2 layers to his parties, where there's one for
Mm,
everybody, even kids are in that one, like family,
mm,
everyone is there. Then while that one is over, he comes out and he announces that, okay, now the this nice party is over. Now the kids can go, everybody, families, you can go there. We are going to be having fun in the other whatever. So I
mm,
saw that video, and even some other people have spoken about it, have confirmed the same thing, that is the parties have layers. And I think after
mm,
that second party, where maybe they have these celebrities or there's now the last one, which is where some of these things that people are talking about takes place, you know
mm,
so my point is, no one can make like a legal, I mean, nobody can make a moral um claim for Didi that he's a moral person. Everybody knows what he's into, and he has
mhm,
always called himself bad boy. He's a gangster. He's a what, all of that. But the thing is now, all those sentiments or that kind of his personal life and what he's doing, I don't think those are not the things that the judge or the jury will look at, because it's a trial, right? And they're going to
mhm,
go with what is a crime and what is not a crime.
mm.
Even without knowing anything about law, everyone knows that it's not about feelings and sentiments in the law court. It's all about which crime did you commit. So,
True.
and for Cassie, what happened to her is unfortunate, because she was young. But I think sometimes we forget that the young of the Western world, for example, is not exactly as naive as maybe some other parts of the world. For example, when you
Mm,
talk about someone who is like 19-year-old or 20-year-old in the West, like US, America, Canada, Australia, all of those places, um, they know quite a lot. Don't forget that these people are coming from a society where everything is being exposed to them. They actually want them to understand everything. They even
mm.
teach them the education in school and all of that. So if someone tries to now say that, oh, somebody was naive and don't know anything, to be honest with you, as for someone like me that have been in those spaces for some time, I will not agree with that. But obviously, young, yes, that's true. Maybe not as knowledgeable as somebody who is like 25 or 30. Obviously, I think that's true. But thinking that that person is totally naive and was made to do everything, or the person didn't know what is wrong and what is right. I think as long as it was not an underage, because if you're an underage, whether you are knowledgeable or not, no, of course they will hold the person who you were with. But my point is, she was young, she didn't know a lot of things, but at the same time, uh, it's a society where you can easily walk away. The way they have made, you should know that the Western world is they are advancing women's rights. A lot of rights are there. In fact, you can walk into any state, you can contact any group and just say that you are trying to leave a relationship and you're being threatened. I'm telling you, with the same day, you will be, your case will be solved. So I'm saying all this to point out that sometimes we should also ask ourselves this question. Um, in fact, I can even ask you the question. Maybe you can tell me, what
Mhm.
do you think that the lady was benefiting in those years? Like those when all these things was going on. What do you think? What do you think like she was benefiting from? Because obviously there was a catch. There was something that's making. Let's assume that she wanted. The way people are saying she wanted to leave. Let's assume she wanted to leave. Well, what do you think was keeping her there? Just as a
So,
as a question.
okay, first off, before I answer this particular question, I would like to say that it doesn't matter where young people are. Young is still young, right? Secondly,
Yes.
I am a strong believer that even adults get manipulated. So a person doesn't have to be 50 years old for them to escape manipulation or grooming. I believe that manipulation can be done by anyone of any age and can be meted out to anyone of any age. Same thing with grooming. I
Yes.
believe that it happens like that. Stockholm syndrome is very much real. It could happen to even the young and
Yes.
the old. Yeah. So these are concepts that are very real. I think we need to acknowledge that they happen and they are real. It doesn't matter if it is in a country that is as lawless as Nigeria or if it is in the US that they call the land of the free. Sometimes situations happen that even the law is not an option at that point in time, especially for the person that is the victim of that situation. And also, when you look at a country like America that people call the land of the free, how come someone like Diddy has been the way he has been whilst he was with Cassie, and even after Cassie moved on and got married, and he continued his lifestyle like that until just recently when he got sued to court? So
Yeah.
these are also very valid questions that we should ask, because the truth is, it doesn't matter which country, there are also rich and powerful people that are above the law in certain countries. It happens. Nothing is ever balanced, right? Now, to answer your question about what I think made her stay that long, to be very honest, I can't tell you in particular that this is what it was, because I wasn't the one wearing the shoes. I wasn't the one in that situation. She was the one in that relationship. So, according to what she said, made her stay. Number one, there was the friendship that was birthed out of him making a lot of promises to help her career, to help her grow, to showcase her talent to the world. There was the promise of an album for every year. According to her, it kept her busy in the studio a lot, creating music, creating albums. But if you check, she did not have any released album, while signed onto his record company for that duration of time she spent with him. So that was some level of control he had over her. He created this idea of beauty, of elevation, of growth. He gave her access into the music industry in terms of her seeing and meeting and partying and wining and dining with the most powerful people in the entertainment industry in America and probably are across the world as well. And she felt privileged for one who is not originally American. That's also another factor that we should, understand. She's not originally American. She wasn't born American, like,
Mm.
she we can call her a migrant too, that became, nationalized there in
Yes.
America. Now, there was also the part where for a 19-year-old that caught the attention of a 37-year-old music mogul like Diddy, who is not only wealthy, but also powerful, influential, and affluential in not only the music industry, but also the entire entertainment industry in America, it made her feel special. This guy kept her close for, I think, 2 years. They met when she was 19, kept her close for 2 years. According to her, he was nice to her, was very good to her, making promises. That was the grooming process. And then when she was 21, the first forced kiss happened. You know, at that point in time, we don't know what exchange must have happened, whether it's financial or otherwise, or looking at the connection and the access he had granted her into different places to help her elevate in her music career, right? So she already was leaning into that mindset, that lifestyle. So she said in her testimony that she genuinely loved him. You and I know that when love or crush hits a young person of 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, they become very sold out to it, very irrational. Nothing makes sense anymore. Sometimes they are no longer in control of their own decisions. So I'm looking at it from the angle of, no matter how free America is, Cassie is still at that point a young girl that came in contact with someone that had so much power and control that
Mm.
she completely let loose because he took
Yeah.
charge of her entire existence, right? So whether she liked
Yeah.
it or not, it was like she was sold out to him at that point in time. Now, as she
Mm.
grew older, remember when you groom someone, that thing becomes a part of that person. It is difficult for that person to be able to leave. That was also a
Mm.
situation. Now, why did she continue staying? There came the threats and the blackmail. This guy had so
Mm.
many videos of her. This guy had so
Mm.
many incriminating, disgusting things. And remember, when Mabato was speaking, she mentioned something accomplice. When Didi would organize these free cuffs, he had people doing the organization. He
Mm.
gave Cassie the role of recruiting the escorts that came to sleep with her in those
Yes.
orgies that they had. So that guy was very smart. For someone that was 17 years older than Cassie, Cassie probably felt like, oh my God, he put me in charge of picking the escorts. For him, it was a
Yeah.
thing of my hands are clean. She's the one getting her hands dirty. She's my accomplice. So he was the one creating that environment of, oh, it's a consensual relationship. She did not know what she
Mm.
was doing. And he had
Yeah.
records of all of those things, their text messages, and of course, the video evidences that he had that, oh, she was the one sleeping with these people. So if you look at the
Mm.
situation, there was a lot of mind games at play from this grown man towards this young
Yeah.
woman. Even though he grew up to the age of 20, 25, even 30, she was trapped in that box that he had created for her.
Yeah.
So to outrightly answer your question, it started
Yeah.
from somewhere, and then
Mhm.
ultimately the threats and the blackmail. At the age of 30 or whatever age in her adult years, Cassie still wanted to pursue her music career. But this guy still had a lot on her. Remember, she mentioned during her testimony that the guy still raped her, came to her house and raped her. And then there was this part again I saw, I don't know how true it is about the testimony, that he checked on her and she replied. So you could see that there was still that soft spot there. Feelings like that don't easily
Mm.
die off. Yeah.
You're
So I don't
right,
know if I answered your
Glory.
question.
No, no, you
Yeah.
answered at some like especially when you were talking about how she probably felt because my main question was like what was she benefiting apart from all the manipulations we know all that because she's younger the man is older and obviously he's a powerful man in the music
Mm-hmm.
entertainment business and all that so but yeah, you answered, and the thing is, I there's a particular YouTuber, maybe I won't mention the name, that has been doing
Mm-hmm.
like day-to-day analysis of the court sessions and all that, and she
Mm-hmm.
there's a way she does it whereby she reads everything that kind of transpires and even the reactions because I think she's
Mm-hmm.
probably always present there,
Mm-hmm.
and you mentioned that she had she of course she mentioned that she was abused when he came to the house, raped her there, and but there was also a follow up for that. The defense now, like, okay, after then there was this time also where he texted her, they met up again, and she said that one was consensual, and there was this
Yeah,
one
I
of
saw that.
whereby and there was this one whereby she said she were visited him for, is it close up or something for them to close the matter amicably, something like that. And it ended
Mm,
up in another intercourse. So, well, um, obviously I understand this, I understand that people can be manipulated at any age, like you said. And I think for her being that she's young, I'm not saying she wasn't young. I'm just saying that uh, even I don't know why nobody's bringing a parents or relatives or family or someone. I don't know why no one's bringing them into all of this because
mm,
I feel like at some point they're very much aware of what where their daughter is and what's going on. Remember, there was a time she said like she's someone's daughter. She
mm.
told PDD that she's someone's daughter and she cannot be accepted to be eaten, like that. And everything could be centered around drug use and being young and naive, and
Mm.
that's true. That's true. And I don't think, no, I'm not even saying that Diddy shouldn't go to jail, because that is left for their courts to decide. And
Mm.
like I said earlier on, if it's about morality, no one can make a moral case for him because of the
Yeah.
lifestyle that he chose to live. And but
Mm.
we know that the Hollywood section of it, let me not generalize the whole Hollywood people, section of it, or in fact, the larger part of it, majority there, it's a very dark thing they are involved in that place, and everybody has
Mhm.
something on someone, and all those their
Yeah.
stuffs that is going on there. So no one is surprised. But the thing also is that as much as we're talking about Cassie and how she was used and manipulated, we should also be looking at people understanding what fire is and playing with fire,
Mm.
and the parents are there. Nobody is mentioning them. Their daughter probably, they are seeing how it's the most powerful man in the music industry in America, then maybe one of, if not the most. And nobody, and they're just there. I don't know what they
So
probably they must be, they must, yeah.
there was this transcription that I read that during her testimony, she had mentioned that she could not tell her mother because she was ashamed. A lot of things
Mm,
had happened so much. Imagine hearing
mm,
that your daughter is involved in these orgies where different people sleep with her and they pee in her mouth and they immerse her in baby oil. It sounds so
what?
weird and cringe. Like it's like a ritual of some sort, you know? It's
Yeah, yeah,
disgusting to think of, you know? Now, imagine as a parent, you raised this girl according to your own little income or whatever you have. Now, I don't know about Cassie's dad. I don't know if he was in the picture or not, but most of the time we hear about the mom, the mom, the mom. So imagine as a parent, you have tried to raise your child the best way you can. And your
mm,
child, obviously, you know your child has a dream. You don't
mm,
want to be like a hindrance to her progress. You hear that, oh, she's going to Las Vegas. She had access to this celebrity hangout. You don't want to be a hindrance to your 19-year-old daughter's progress, right? So you decide that, okay,
yeah,
fine, let me let off and let her chase her dreams. And then your daughter has flown away and was doing whatever. And if your daughter does not tell you, to be honest, young people can be very secretive. You will never know,
mm,
right?
mm,
You will never know. And I don't want to make excuses for the parent because I mean, if I were to be a parent, not saying I'm going to be the most perfect parent out there, but if I were to be a parent, I want to be able to create this bond with my child or my children that listen, whatever it is, do not ever think that it is too disgusting or too shameful to tell me. I want to know about it. And you see, personally, that's kind of relationship I have with my mom. At my
mm,
grown age of 35,
mm,
I can
mm,
literally sit my mom down and tell her who I slept with and she will just
mm,
look at me like this and she's listening. That is where I
mm,
am now with my mother,
mm,
right? And
mm,
it
mm,
took a process for us to get to that point. So if I were to be a parent, that is the kind of relationship I want to have with my child or my children. That listen, even if you ate shit, or even if you fell into shit, or maybe you drank
mm,
pee, I want to hear it because I'm not going to judge you, but at least get it off your chest. That is me creating a safe environment for my child, you know. So I don't
mm,
know the kind of relationship Cassie had with her mom. Hence the reason I'm not going to even judge the mom because I think it's safer for people to focus on the details that she is sharing that she went through and the evidence is
mm,
on ground than people passing the blame to the mother. Nobody knew what was going on with the mother at that point in time. So I'm not even going to, focus on the mother. But I want to quickly
mm,
touch up on this other part of our testimony that you shared. That there
mm,
was a follow-up that Cassie had met Didi and then they had a consensual
mm.
love making again. Now,
Yeah.
I want to say that Stockholm syndrome is actually very real to the point that the victim, no matter how mean or cruel or unhinged the abuser or maybe the kidnapper is, it's a situation where the victim will still make excuses for the abuser. The
Mm-hmm.
victim will still, no, even if the whole world sees the abuser as a monster, the victim will still have a reason to see the abuser as an angel. So when I listened to this particular transcription from a particular content creator that is actually in the courtroom, right? I I knew instantly that, as I've said before, these psychological situations, it does not have any age restriction. A 50-year-old person could come in contact with their abuser that they had a soft spot for, and they will still go back to that person. I watched a TikTok video yesterday of a young woman. I think she's 20 or maybe in her early 20s. She was sharing a very heartbreaking story about how she just got legal rights to parent her 15-year-old sister. And then she's told this very weird story of how her, her dad had been abusing her mom since they were born because the mom was the higher earner in the family. You know, the father had another family in Haiti where they are originally
Mm,
from. So the father would steal their
mm,
mother's money and take it to his family, will beat up all of them, will beat up the mother, beat up the sister, beat up her brothers. The mother has five children for this man, like they are five in number. She's the eldest, right? Now, it got to the point where the man would beat the 15-year-old sister, that's his daughter, and the daughter would challenge him back, like, why are you beating me? Blah, blah, blah. And then the mother too would challenge the husband. Then they will call the police. This one that happened recently, as she shared in the story, they called the police and asked for a statement from the mother. And the woman said it was this her 15-year-old child that was abusive towards the man. And they took this child to juvenile detention. Everybody knows that this man is unhinged, that this man has been a monster to this woman and her children for years. But whenever there's a
mm,
problem, whenever the law enforcement is invited, this woman will defend this man. What do you call that? This is a
mm,
grown woman, of course, that's probably in her late 40s, right? She has five children for this man. This man beats
mm,
her up. This man takes her money. This man does not pay any single bill in the house. This woman is the one training the entire family. Any money she
mm,
has, he will tell her, you give me 50% of your earnings. This, when I listen to the story, I'm like, wow, this is messed up.
mm.
So what do you call that type of situation? It's insane.
That yeah, I've also had a few of those cases, and I think it's a situation of some women that maybe so much afraid of being alone or losing their husband or
Mm-hmm.
something like that. And it's quite unfortunate. I think it's unforgivable if they project that kind of if they now like direct that blame to their children because
Yes.
yeah, I think that's totally. To be honest, when I see something like that, I usually wonder how people get to that point whereby they feel um, they can't say no or leave, especially when the
Mm,
person. I always try to ask myself, is there something that they really like about that person? Because it doesn't make sense if
yeah.
somebody is that abusive or violent and all that, and you're looking for an excuse to still be with that person. Then maybe that person
Yes.
need to tell us what is the thing that is keeping them there. So that's what I
Exactly.
feel like. It's quite unfortunate, and I've had a few of that kind of story. But for this cases issue, to be honest, I understand and I also accept. In fact, I agree with you that a young person can be groomed and can be manipulated and can even, in fact, that's like the formative part whereby she's
Yes.
getting her identity and trying to. So
Yes.
whatever she's fed at that point about herself, she might accept that to as to who she is.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you remember? I also think I heard that there was a situation where she threatened one of the guys who had her, her recording, her tape, that
Mm.
some very serious threat that even the according to the lady who was talking about it, the content creator, he said the people in the court, even the juries, they were like shocked because when they played the audio actually of the message he sent to this person, talking about what she
Mm.
would do to the person and all that, and
Mm.
people were shocked that how is it possible she could, like, they didn't expect that. She
I
made
mean,
some
what
very
what is
serious
not
threats.
to expect? What is not to
Mm,
expect? I mean, okay, look at it this way. You've been in this
mm,
situation for many years, and then the
mm,
reason why you remained in that relationship, the ultimate reason is, oh, the continuous threats of blackmail of those video clips, and then finally
mm,
those video clips
mm,
makes it out. Do you understand how mental one could get? That, oh my God,
mm,
I've been in this relationship this long because I am scared of these videos going out and the threat of
mm.
the release of these videos. Then finally, you are hearing that it's there. You could, and those could be empty threats. That's the thing. I feel like
But,
for people to be
mm,
able to really analyze this case, they need to look at it from
mm.
all angles.
All angle. And I'll just finish by saying that
Mm.
as much as everything she's saying could be true, if I looking like maybe uh I think the main charges that the Diddy is even being charged of is those three charges. I think is racketeering,
Yeah, sex
sex trafficking,
trafficking,
and the other one is
yeah,
transportation
transportation of.
to yeah, yeah. So I feel like the way the defense are kind of cross-examining her and the games they're playing, like um they're trying to drag it so that because they actually expected that she might go to labor even while they actually had
Mm,
facilities in place just in case she's about to go on
mm,
labor, then they can quickly take her to the hospital or something. So I feel like the defense are trying to make her to still appear, like I think next week, so that
mm,
so there's a way they are doing that game, and they are trying to the cross-examining the questions and trying to show that she was a willing participant in most of the things.
yeah.
I think from my own, I might be wrong, but it's looking like they will have to now go and look for those three main. The whole thing will be analyzed, will be judged based on the main accusation that they brought against I mean, the charges. So, and
Mm.
if it gets to that point, they have not been able to prove even anything in those three whatever. So, it's looking somehow that if it continues like that, the man might walk free, to be honest, if it continues, unless maybe because they've not been able to bring something substantial about the main charges that was brought. This Cassie's one is like the icing on the cake and the X, factor.
Mm.
And now the defense is successfully painting her, in a certain way. So it looks
And
somehow though.
we can't say they are successfully painting her in a certain way. According to what I understand about this U.S. Court process, I think at the
Yeah.
end of the day, the bulk of the
Mm.
decision still kind of lays with the jury. So I feel
Yes.
like what the defense is doing is okay. So the game of the court, according to what I understand, is you need to create a story that will make the jury love your client, whether your client is guilty or
Mm.
not.
Or not.
So, according to people that are inside the court following the story, the jury looks like already, like, even though Cassie's story is very much believable, the jury looks like they are taken more by Cassie's story, not because she's pregnant, right? But
Yeah.
because of she's been able to give very graphic details of
Mm.
everything according to
Mm.
how she experienced it with Didi, right? Now,
Mm.
the
Mm.
defense, what they're trying to do, as you rightly said, they're trying to pluck the layers to prove that she was an accomplice, everything was consensual, she was just jealous, she was violent. But it's going to be difficult for them to do because number one,
Mm.
you is Diddy likable even in court? Is he likable?
Yeah.
The jury, they are watching his body language, they are looking at him, so
Yeah.
is he likable? And also, we've only seen one video There are
Yeah,
many other video evidences and whatnot. So I think the defense, they have a lot of work to do to make
yeah.
the jury like Diddy and to
Like
not
this. Yeah.
see him. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, Ovia. We have like other people here to speak, but
All
I
right.
really appreciate your contribution. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank.
All right. Okay, so let's speak with Free, and then we'll speak with Mr. A. Free was here before, but then she had an audio issue. Free, you're welcome back.
I was hearing double audio for some reason, and I realized that my PC actually took me to Microsoft Edge when I joined the link, and then I was still on YouTube, so the audio, both audios were
You're
coming in, so I
welcome.
was confused, like what's going on here. Hi,
Yeah,
Glory, nice
you're
to see
welcome back.
you. I
Same
love
here.
your
It's
new
been a while.
studio. Frankly speaking, with Glory Elijah. Period.
Yeah.
It looks good. And I'm so glad that you're
Thank you.
talking more about social issues because, in as much
Yeah.
as I like your Baby Nigeria reviews, sometimes I'll just prefer to talk about social issues because
Mm.
Baby Nigeria can sometimes become daunting. Like the last one, I didn't
Yeah.
really follow up. I just knew that, what was his name? Cassia's husband won, and that was it. So I'm glad that you're talking more about social issues. It's actually very interesting. So,
Thank you.
on this Diddy and Cass's issue, well, there was someone in the comment section that was asking that, oh, why are they not live streaming the court recording? So I just wanted to point it out that it's a federal case. They don't allow
Mm.
cameras or phone, so that's why
Mm.
it's not being live streamed like Johnny Depp and Amber Heard's case. It's a federal case.
Mm.
So any federal case like the Justine and what was her name now, Blake Lively's case that is coming up, they're not going to live stream it as well because it's a federal case. So it's just like that. They don't live stream federal case. So
Mm.
on their situation, I think people are forgetting that this is not a Cassie suing Diddy issue.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand? This is a federal case against Diddy. Cassie
Yeah.
is just a witness, just like
Yeah.
other witnesses are going to testify. But the
Mm.
bulk of the focus is now on Cassie, Diddy, Cassie. She's just a witness. And there are going to be
Mm.
other witnesses. And for people who are already making conclusions saying that, oh, from everything testified, yes, it was horrible, but there's no evidence of racketeering, there's no evidence of what's the other federal charge against him now? I think sexual trafficking. Okay, no,
Mm-hmm.
people can't really deny that much because the moment you start transporting sex workers, that's sex trafficking. Like the moment you start transporting people, giving your girlfriend or even if she's not your girlfriend, she's under your care, giving her out to other men or women to sleep with them, that is sex trafficking. That is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So nobody can deny that. But for racketeering and RICO, people are saying, oh, there's no evidence of that. You should know that this is just week one of the trial. Let them cook. This is just week one. What do you expect? I mean, let the prosecution cook. Like, even his team, let them do their job. Like,
Mm-hmm.
in week one, you can't just make judgment. I think they're just laying the groundwork for people to know that, okay, this is the pattern. This is this, this
Mm.
is this, this is this. And I'm actually following a YouTuber. Her name is Stephanie Sue. Her channel is Rotten Mango. She's inside the courtroom with her researchers. And she said that when the jury, they said they saw some of the videos from the free cuffs and I think it was the video where Diddy was brutalizing Sissy, what was her name, Cassie, but in like a longer version. And then they saw some of the pictures from the freak of that. One of the jury actually puts her hand on her chest, like in horror. Like, so you should know that they are horrified, but they will try not to show it. Like, they will try as much as possible to like mask their emotions. But there's nobody, I don't think there's any sane person, except you yourself, you're an abuser. There's no sane person that will see that video and then will have anything to defend Diddy on, like when it comes
Mm-hmm.
to abuse. There's nobody that will be able to do that. So I think they're just laying the groundwork for them to show that, okay, this is a pattern. This is why it's sex trafficking. This is why it's RICO. This guy had a lot of people involved, his assistants, his bodyguards, the people that were controlling her, not just Cassie, the other people that he was dating, and they were all like in control, trying to control them, go here, do this, do that. It was an organization. In my own opinion, it was an organization. So I don't think there's any denying that. And people should also keep in mind that she was not the only victim. She was not his only victim. The other victims are also going to be testifying. And this guy was not just abusive to people he was dating, he was abusive to even his staffs, people that were working for him. not just the people he was dating. So I think people are also forgetting that as well. And those other people that are going to be testifying, I think one of them already testified briefly. What was her name? Danity King, or I can't remember her name, but she was one of his band members, and she testified about how did he abuse her and all of that. But she's going to continue testifying by Monday. So she was not the only victim. There are going to be other victims as well that are going to testify. And I think it's sad that people always expect a victim to be perfect. For example, when Diddy raped her, let me use the word raped because I don't know if YouTube would like me using the original word. When Diddy raped her, and then after that they had consensual sex, so a lot of people they're like, what kind of person is this? Like, how will somebody rape you and then you will go back and you will go and have consensual sex with the person? Just like you said, there's something called Stockholm syndrome. It's real. It is real. And the fact that, okay, after then she still had consensual sex with him, it doesn't take away the fact that he raped her. It doesn't take away that fact. Like, it doesn't negate that. One thing has nothing to do with the other. So I think expecting a victim to be perfect is actually really sad. And I'm also going to use Halle as a case study because just like Cassie, people are also saying that, oh, why didn't Cassie leave on time? Why did she not leave him? Why did she not do that? Okay, Halle has left on time. I don't know if you know the case of Halle Bailey and her baby daddy, DDG. The guy
Yes.
put hands on her, yeah. And now she's doing things the right way, right? She went to court, she's taking precautions, she's doing the necessary things. She's not coming on social media to rant or drag him or do any of that. She just went straight to court, submitted her evidences, taking precautions, but people are still dragging her, calling her a bitter baby mama, calling her this, calling her that. Oh, she wants to ruin a father's life, this. What exactly do you want women to do? Damn if you do and damn if you don't. She's doing things the correct way and people are still dragging her. So what exactly should Cassie have done? We all watched the video of her trying to leave and what his reaction was. And then there's still people that are like, oh, why didn't she leave sooner? Why didn't she leave sooner? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me why people are so obsessed with defending abusers. It will never make any sense to me. And then I think another question we should be asking, not just for her parents, like, oh, why didn't her parents step in? I think there was a part where she mentioned that her mom called the police because Diddy asked her to call her mom. And then while she was dialing her mom, he snatched her phone and then ran off with the phone. And then her mom was forced to call the police. But the defense, I mean the prosecution, they didn't really like dig much on that one. They just died the case there and like transferred to another case. So I wanted to hear the end of that. That what happened? Did the police come? Like what happened? But we didn't hear the end of that. I think another question should be for his mom. Why was his mother so enabling? I watched the video of Diddy and his mom. They were taking IV fluids and then they had a kiss on the mouth. So disgusting. I know that yes, their moms and dads that kiss their babies on the mouth, but the ones I've seen are little babies. I've not seen any grown man and grown child, like grown child and grown mom that were kissing on the lips. I've never seen that, Glory. I've only seen that like little babies. Oh, your mom will kiss you on the mouth, peck kind of kiss, and your dad the same thing. But I've never seen that for a grown man and a grown mom. I've never seen that, but he did that with his mom. And then he was talking about oh how his mom used to go on all fours. She can go on all fours and bend that, like just disgusting things that he was describing. Like who describes their mom like that? Why is nobody talking about the fact that she was an enabler? Because there's another victim. I think that's part of his civil case that said when Diddy orally raped her, he called his mom, and then because the girl was saying she was going to report him and all of that, she called his he called his mom rather, and then the phone was on speaker and the mom was yelling, "Oh, don't ruin my son's life! Don't ruin my son's life!" Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, that means you know who your son is. You know your son is a monster. That's just the truth. You know your son is a monster, and you're okay with it. There's no part of you that feel like, oh, what kind of child did I raise? Okay, now let's put all of that aside. The fact that even you, as a grandmother, you will allow your granddaughters to be in that courtroom listening to all of those disgusting things. Like, the family as a whole is not normal to me. It's not. I understand the fact that, oh, they want to show, oh, we're a perfect family, we are supportive. They want to show that front to the media and to the jury that, oh, we are supportive, we believe our dad, but it is disgusting to have your daughters, especially. I don't even care about the sons because one of them even has a case against him also. Several other people have come outside to, label different things on him. But the daughters, your
Mm.
daughters are here. they are listening to all the disgusting things, like, and there's no part of it I feel like, oh, this is abnormal, this is not okay. But at the same time, I don't know what to say much on that, because he lives in the same house with them. When the feds raided his home, they said they saw a lot of drugs, a lot of those freak off items. So there's no way that the kids have not seen those things, because it's not like they were locked away in a safe somewhere. They were just in his bedroom, in his bathroom, according to what one of the feds testified, the people that raided his home, that, oh, this is what they saw in his bathroom, this is what they saw in his bedroom lying around. Bunch of drugs, bunch of different things. So I'm obliged to believe that his kids at some point must have seen all those things and they know who their dad is, but they keep supporting him for reasons best known to them, even with all the allegations against him concerning their mom, that, oh, he might have been the one that, I don't know if you've heard about that as well.
Mhm.
And then
Mhm.
her ex-husband, I don't know if they actually got legally married, but I know they have a child together, Quincy. That's the one that Diddy is claiming to adopt. Quincy's dad came out and was saying that, oh, he's sure that Diddy is the one that unalived Kim, and Diddy is the one that sent him into a coma. In fact, there are so many things on this guy, Glory. Like, if you want to go into the rabbit hole, we're gonna be there forever. But it's just sad. It's sad that people are still blaming her, saying, oh, she has a fault in this, or she's not the victim, the perfect victim. That's always the word. She's not the perfect victim. Let's say that, okay, yes, she was there to better her career as well, but I believed her when she said that at some point she loved the guy. And then maybe in the beginning she felt like, okay, I want to do this to please him, okay, I want to do this to satisfy him. And then it became
Mhm.
abusive. There are people that, okay, your partner can come to you, for example, Gloria, and tell you, oh, babe, what do you think if we, swing? And you might be you might be disgusted, like, no, I'm not going to do that, absolutely not. And at the second hand, you might be like, okay, it's not really my thing, but I can give it a try if that's what you really like. And you indulge in it. And you indulge in it, and maybe you like it the first time, you like it the second time, you're like, okay, let's keep doing this. And then before you know, it becomes abusive. Does it change the fact that you were abused? It doesn't. The fact that you were willingly participating like the first few times, it doesn't change the fact that down the line it became abusive, and then you wanted to stop doing it, but your spouse kept forcing you to do it. And then they were recording you, blackmailing you, threatening you. It doesn't negate all those things. I think people have a tendency of mixing up everything. And also, I know that people like to say, oh, let's not king shame, but I'm going to king shame, please. Why in the hell do you want to pee on somebody else? Like, why in the hell, as a human being, do you want to pee on another human being? And then I'm seeing people, like, whenever they're talking about that element, they're always like, it's tricky. I don't want to kink shame. Everybody have their. I'm going to fucking kink shame. I don't care. Why do you want to? Like, what kind of kink is that? That you want to pee on another human being, even an animal, like talking about another human being, you want to pee on them. What gratification, what sexual gratification is it going to give to you to pee on another whole human being, to pee on them, poop on them, do all those disgusting things on them? And then what normal person wants to have sex for 4 days on a row? Like, the things I'm hearing, Glory, they blow my mind. Like, it's baffling to me. I mean, sex is supposed to be pleasure, it's supposed to be enjoyed. By
Mhm.
the time it's turned into something that you have to take drugs to sustain yourself, to it's becoming torture at that point. It is torture. Like, you have to be taking drugs, consuming drugs for you to be going back to back to back. Are you not even concerned about your health? There's
Mhm.
like, it doesn't make any sense to me. And then I understand why she was having sores. She said she had a lot of sores due to the urine and then the constant oral sex. Who would not have socks? Like, you're having sex on your period, you're doing oral sex, they're peeing on you. Like, disgusting things is happening to your body. Like, how she's still standing today, honestly, I have no idea. But she's really, really strong. She's a really strong woman. And then the statements that her husband gave, like, after she finished testifying yesterday, it really touched me. The part where she said that people keep saying that he saved her, that no, he did not save her, that she saved herself. Cassie saved Cassie. That really touched me, because it is true. She saved herself at the end of the day. And I'm glad that she's still alive. She's still standing here, like, after all she's been through. I'm glad.
Mhm.
So I'm just gonna say that let's see how it plays out. There's still about I think five or
Mhm.
6 weeks. Yeah, they say about 5 or 6 weeks. So let's see what comes on. But I know that there are going to be a lot of other witnesses that are going to come out and testify. And I would also like to hear the naysayers. I would like to hear their defense as well, because there's always a camp of people that always have a defense for everything. Like, no matter
Mhm.
how gruesome, no matter how evil or diabolical your act is, trust me, there's going to be a camp of people that are waiting to defend you. That's just the
Mm.
truth, and it's never going to change. And also, lastly, another thing I want to quickly touch on is why people are not talking about the fact that so many of these men, I don't want to make it a black man thing, but let me just say black men because those are the few experiences that I've seen and I've read about. So many of them harbor so much rage. I don't know why we're not talking about that element. Why? Especially these successful men. Why do they harbor so much rage in them? Take Diddy as a case study. You have money, you have success, you have the fame, you have everything like that you want. So what exactly is making you harbor so much rage, so much resentment? Then take this other guy, what's his name? Shannon Sharp, also as an example. Take Aaron Kelly as an example. These are successful men. So what exactly, like, is it that from their childhoods they were like messed up? I don't know. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. You have everything you want in life, but yet you have so much resentment, so much rage. It's like what you have is not enough for you, and you just want to hurt other people. To me, it will never make sense. And I just hope that the naysayers that like to defend the indefensible, they'll be able to defend that and explain that aspect as well, as to why these men harbor so much rage that they see the need to hurt people, not just men, women. And also keep in mind that Diddy also has allegations against kids as little as 9 years old. He made a 9-year-old boy give him oral sex. I'm just going to end it there. Thank you, Glory.
All right, free. I was listening to you with so much focus because I was listening and also preparing my response to some of the points you raised, which are very valid. So first one about his mom, Diddy's mom, being an enabler. The thing is, a lot of women know when they have raised monsters, but there's this thing about this filial bond of, oh, even if my child is this, I'm still going to protect my child. I
Yeah.
strongly believe that that is the thing between Didier and his mother. You know, there are
Yeah.
mothers like that. They know that their kids are monsters, they are killers, they are whatnot, but they will always come with this thing of, I carried this person in my belly for 9 months, so nothing should happen to this person. So I've
Yeah.
seen cases like that exist, cases like that. You know, society has this mentality of all mothers being angels, you know, because they carried a human in their belly for 9 months, so mothers are blameless. But the truth is, mothers are first humans. They're first humans, right? Okay, maybe not humans, because we also have animal mothers and other elements, whatever. But they are first, yeah, they are first entities of their own self before they birthed another human or another thing, you know. So there's no general immunity for, you know, all women that are mothers, right? So I just believe that yes, she's an enabler and she knows who her son is, and she's just doing what mothers like her do, you know, protecting that
I mean, not
monster
all
to
mothers,
eat.
though. Not all mothers do that.
Yes, that's why I said mothers like her that, you know, that have children like that. There's also the other thing of his daughters being in the courtroom. To be very honest, when this case started on Monday, I was really looking forward to seeing his daughters in that courtroom. And my reason is this: any man or father that abused another person's daughter, especially if the
Mhm.
daughter is young, for me, my prayer is that if they have children, especially girl child, two or daughters, no matter how many they have, I always pray that their daughters are there when they are getting shamed, when they are getting judged.
Yeah.
Because you cannot be destroying another person's daughter and you want to protect yours. No, yours needs to be there because there's this thing, as we always say, two things can be true at the same time. Lily might be a monster, but he might also be a great dad to his kids.
Yeah.
So I do not want for him to continue to carry that beautiful facade of, oh, I'm a great dad, I take care of my kids, I send them to the best schools, best holidays, they fly private jet, they get whatever they want, I'm a provider, father. How about they also see you, I mean, the other side of you, that you are in a way protecting them from. So when I saw his daughters in court, I was happy. And when the daughters left, when they were hearing all the horrible things, especially the peeing thing, peeing in Cassie's mouth with the other escort, and they left the court, I was not happy. I wanted them to sit down there and hear of the
Every single
horrendous things. And my prayer is that till the case ends, the children, not just the daughters, they must be there. They need to see, because you cannot continue to hide under the facade of I'm a great dad. No, you are out there, you're destroying the lives of other people's kids. Cassie is somebody's daughter. And as you said, Cassie is not the only victim. There are so many others. There are some videos that I saw between yesterday and today on social media. At least are old videos of some girls that joined one reality TV show that he came up with some years back, I think back in the 90s.
yeah.
And
Then it's a king.
exactly.
That was what I referred to. Yeah.
I saw the video of three girls from a particular girl band, and they were sharing their experiences about how when they are dressing up, he used to carry this handheld camera device,
Yeah.
to
To film
show.
them.
Why are you doing that? So if you're doing that to other people's daughters, you cannot protect your own daughters. I'm sorry, because those are the people's daughters too. Before you met them, whether they were perfect victims or not, they were living a good life in their own way, free from all the rubbish you brought to them. So your daughters too, they should see you for who you are. And I am hoping that however way this whole proceedings go, that the daughters begin to see him for who he truly is, whether he's a good dad or not. Because the question they should be asking their father is why? Why? And it's my kink, it's my preference. That answer does not cut it. He needs
Don't
to.
king
It does
shame.
not. It doesn't, because if you say, "Oh, it's my kink," "Oh, it's my fetish," that is not a valid enough reason. So you want to tell me that your fetish is killing people? It doesn't make sense. So if you
Yeah.
are good to your kids, if you are kind to your kids, why can you not be kind to other people? Do you have to destroy other people to satisfy your
Exactly.
fantasies? It doesn't make sense. So I strongly agree to everybody else that is happy that his children, his daughters are there. And I think there's a lot for his daughters to learn, because from all the transcriptions I have listened to and watched about Cassie's testimony, you will hear people describe the reactions, the body language of Diddy's daughters, especially. You could see that they were cringing, they were scared, they were irritated, different emotions going through their faces or their body. So it goes to show that they find those things that their father did disgusting. And the fact that they are looking at a fellow woman telling all of these things, and according to these transcriptions too from the courtroom, it is said that sometimes when Cassie is sharing the story, sometimes she sighs, sometimes she takes a deep breath, sometimes she asks for like a few minutes or
A
seconds
few
to go
minutes
and
of
catch her
break.
breath
Yeah.
outside. Exactly. It means that the trauma lives on in her head. She's still going through that trauma, even though she says she has gone for therapy. To be honest, some of these kinds of abuse, they almost never go away. The only way you can try to overcome them, overcome having a relapse, is when you have a partner or people around you that are able to hold you down. Like they are there for you. They help to boost your self worth. Because according to her
I mean, did you hear
testimony,
when she said that there was a time that she wanted to like walk into traffic and just end it all, and she
yes,
told her husband that you can take care of the children
exactly,
without me, and her husband held her back. Like it was so
hmm,
heartbreaking. And see, people
exactly,
say that okay, yeah, the guy already knew about everything. Yes, he might have already known, but the fact that he still also has to sit there and hear it again, and there are a
hmm,
lot of people that are there, he has to sit there with them, hear
hmm,
everything again, word for word, incident by
hmm,
incident. There's a part of it that is humiliating, and there's a part of it that is angry. I cannot even begin to imagine how he himself must have been feeling. Like, I know he
hmm,
feels like just strangling Diddy, and the fact that he has to sit there with the Diddy, like, it's not just that okay, your wife is telling you at the privacy of both of you's home. It's just the both of you. She's narrating what happened to
the
you.
whole world.
the whole world like is hearing it, and you're there sitting in front of the abuser. You have to swallow it, you have to like contain your emotions. It's just so sad. And there's another
Yeah.
part that people are saying that he seems to be the financial security, the only financial security in his family, and that might be another element to why his whole family, they don't want him to go to jail. And I tend to believe that as well. They also have like an advantage in seeing him be free, because he is their security blanket. Do you understand? He's their security
Mm-hmm.
blanket financially. So what happens if he goes to jail? And they said the money that he's paying these like lawyers is not cheap. Is in the millions
Mm-hmm.
of dollars. Like that's what he's paying his attorneys. So his money must be draining out. And if he goes to jail, like I can't imagine the kind of life those children will have to downgrade to. So there's also an aspect of them wanting to see him free. Do you
Mm-hmm.
understand? And I also
Mm-hmm.
did not like the fact that they made the daughters work out for some of the parts. In as much as I did not understand why they were there at all, but it's just like what you said. It's good that they are there hearing all that,
Mm-hmm.
because truly they are men that are evil. They are really, really evil, but they are good
Mm-hmm.
fathers to their children. And their children would never want to accept that bad part of them, that, oh, this is my father. They will block it
Mm-hmm.
out. Even if you are showing them evidence, they will block it out. They will just hold on to the part that, oh, my father is a good dad. They will hold on to that good father image, and they would never
Mm-hmm.
want to let any other thing disrupt that. So I understand
Exactly.
your point of view, and I accept that part, that, okay, yes, it is good that they are there to see for themselves, to hear for themselves. And it is also annoying that they made them work out for some parts. Let them sit there and hear
Mm-hmm.
every single thing. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure that, okay, I'm not sure, but I think that they might be going online as well, because they are 19 now, if I'm not mistaken. They might be going online to read all those things. All these things are plastered online. So even if they make them leave the courtroom, if they really want to know what's going on, they can go online and read all these testimonies. You understand? But next time they should sit there, hear every single thing. Maybe that will also deter them, especially the boys, to know that this is no way to treat a woman. This is not a kink,
Mm-hmm.
it's not a kink Olympics. Stop
Mm-hmm.
using kinks for, like, people are not using kinks and fetish to like defend the indefensible, like, oh, this is my kink, this is my
Mm-hmm.
fetish. Like, it's so disgusting. How did we get here? And then
Mm-hmm.
lastly, people that are shaming people that are collecting money, like the victims that collect money, they'll be like, oh, if you suffered so much, why do you even have to collect money? Okay, pay me for my suffering. How about that?
Of
Pay me for my
course.
suffering. Because you have to go to rehab, you have to
Mm-hmm.
go to therapy. Those things cost money.
Mm-hmm.
Some people, they will forever have like suicidal thoughts, like to take their own life. They have to remain in constant therapy, years of rehab. Who will pay for all those things? And they don't have the function to work when they are going through depression. You're fighting for your life in the trenches. So pay them for their suffering. The fact that he
Mm-hmm.
pays them, it doesn't negate the fact that he abused them. It doesn't. Thank you,
Mm-hmm.
Glory.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your input. Really appreciate. All right. Let's hear from Mr. A. Mr. A, you're welcome to the conversation.
Yeah, hello, Glory. Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. You're welcome. How are
Okay.
you?
Yeah, not bad, not bad. Thank you so much, and congratulations on your new studio. That's really amazing. Well done.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. With regards to this situation, yeah, I think people are actually forgetting. People who are kind of like going towards making accusations to Cassie and stuff like that. I think they are actually forgetting that this is a court case against Diddy. This is allegations against Diddy. And according to the charges which is actually being filed, sexual assault, human trafficking, violence and
Sex
abuse.
trafficking.
Yes, sex trafficking. Yep. Um, Distribution of illicit material and illegal drugs, activities, and firearms. These are all the allegations against Diddy, and they are bringing in witness to actually prove all these allegations. So whatever Cassie is actually narrating, that should not even be the focus. That should not even be the matter to be talked about. What she's actually whatever she's actually her statements, you know it's for the jury to decide whether she's lying or not, and it's for also the lawyers to actually state whether this person Are they actually, telling the truth, or are they falsifying their statements, just to make it believable, So at the end of the day, Cassie is someone who is actually, being a witness to, and to all these allegations. The allegations is just, I don't know, I mean, going through it's just disturbing. It's very disturbing. I mean, one thing I would actually agree with the last speaker is, it's actually a good thing that Diddy's daughters are actually watching this case, because, in all honesty, it's nice that the daughters would actually see what sort of a monster, Diddy is. He's a monster which has been groomed by whoever, who I don't know, because I mean, I can't actually understand where people like himself, and who's actually got power, lots of money, to actually start, doing these kind of things. I mean, I don't know. There's something in probably the Western society that, when you actually have power, money, you think that normal things are no longer normal. That you actually want to do things which normal people cannot do anymore. And I see that has been the new norm now for all these elite people. It's like, just take for it as an example. We like traveling from one continent to another. The elites, they like traveling. They're traveling from one continent to another is not, normal for them. They want to go out to space. That is their own kick, from having all this power and influence. So I don't know. It's very disturbing, and we actually see it from quite a few of all these, um, um, some of these, brothers who are very, famous, popular. I mean, I always had respect for Diddy, during his time when he actually brought out, music and stuff like that. But ever since, even before the allegations, to be honest with you, I've always suspected something about him, which has made me not think, you know what, there's something not quite right about, Diddy. Not even just Diddy. I know also Jay-Z and even Beyonce. There's something there which obviously hasn't actually come out yet, but I'm just waiting for that time that, that would actually happen with those people. I mean, you can always say the same for, I mean, look at where Kelly is today, you know?
Mhm.
He was actually um, prisoned, for all the things he was, and it's the same sort of thing, that he's been accused of, similar sort of things, sexual allegations and with minors and stuff like that, you know. Um, Once again, Chris Brown with Rihanna, all the physical violence, So you got to wonder, where is all this actually coming from? You got to really wonder, where's actually all this coming from? And they say sometimes the perpetrators, they don't actually know how it really feels, because they are the ones in power displaying all that, violence. So they don't know how it feels for someone to actually do it back to them. It's like you're a gangster, you've got sons, you love your son, but you're telling people, your followers, to actually go out there and actually kill other people because you want to be the number one, you know, and you're killing other people's children. So you don't know, you just want to get to the top. That's all it is. That's all that matters to you. But now when they kill your family, your children, it becomes a pain, and you want revenge, and now you know how it feels, because someone is actually taking someone you loved away from you, So I think the whole Diddy situation, to be honest, in all honesty, I just hope, he gets locked up. In no way, shape, or form would I even start, kind of singling out Cassie with regards to, oh, she should have done this, or oh, she, all the people that are actually coming from the angle of, yeah, why did she move, or why did she collect the pay, the money and stuff like that. Everybody's got their own reasons of actually doing certain things. Like with regards to the civil suit, which was actually filed, against Diddy, people actually said, oh, the next day, she, accepted, a largeable sum of money from him, and that was it, case closed. Yeah, she could have taken that money, probably not to relieve what she's going through right now, telling the people about all the nasty things that has actually happened to her. She didn't want to probably relieve that whole experience again, hence the reason why she
Mm.
settled. So that could be a reason. But now she has to go through it because she's been forced by the she's been subpoenaed by the the federal people, that she has to come out as a witness to actually talk against this person. And also, bearing in mind, she probably is now coming out to even talk about it, to say, I don't want anybody else to go through this. I mean, imagine those times I've actually kept quiet, and all the young girls that have been going through all the same thing I have actually been through. They're going through it with P. Diddy, but I've remained silent because I don't want to talk about this experience that actually ate me up. But younger people are actually going through that same experience. So, do you know how many people you could have actually helped by you actually coming out? And I'm glad she's actually coming out now, because in a way, it's actually put a stop, to what P Diddy is actually doing, and I hope he actually puts a stop to what the others, because if what they're actually saying is true, that P Diddy has actually got a whole bunch of elites in his books that he can bring down. If that's the case, even better. Let all these people just, seriously, all these people that actually comes out and with their mindset of, I don't know, um let's actually bring them down, because I mean, how can you be living with such people in our society? Because I mean, at the end of the day, we safe, our kids safe, our friends and family safe, you
Mm-hmm.
know because I mean, we just don't know. We just don't know at all.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
glad that all this is actually happening. And it's one thing where I wish the case is actually, be wrapped up as quickly as possible, so we can actually have a, well, for me anyway, I want a favorable judgment where they can actually just lock this guy up and put it in cell. But also, I would love if, he goes to prison, that as one of his bargaining chips, he can, bring down others, let's see who else is actually out there, who's actually doing all this nastiness or all this nasty stuff, and actually smiling, in front of us all, and we call it them a role model, but behind the scenes, who knows? Who knows what's actually happening? But anyway,
Yeah.
Glory, thanks once again for bringing this onto your
Yeah.
platform. It's been amazing. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. A. Thank you so much. I just want to quickly comment on one of the first things you mentioned about how most of these elites, they just um, begin to search for new fantasies the moment they reach a certain level of elevation. When Free was speaking, that's the speaker before you, she had mentioned something about rage, according to her, with the examples of PDD, Chris Brown, that she feels like they have so much rage. And I don't think it's rage. I think it's actually a thing of power. I think, and it's not even, these are real situations. If you also think about the Dubai porta potty situation, that went viral some years ago, I think it's a thing of power. Certain people, they attain a level of success, they make money, and aside from money, they also gather affluence, right? They have the right connections, they know the right people in power, in positions of authority, and they are so used to eating the same kind of food. They are used to having a particular kind of preference, and then they decide that, well, it's time to change the taste, it's time to acquire a different taste, right? And then they decide to go for other extreme sports, you know. I mean, the Dubai porta potty situation is one of such. When people, big people, rich people like that, they go on all these yacht cruise, and they invite a lot of, in quotes, Instagram influencers. They make them do the most animalistic and barbaric things for money, like $50,000 if you can last the night. And things like that happen. There's this one that I've heard of that happens in Abuja in Nigeria, where they invite these girls to these pool parties, and then they tell them to act like animals. They give them dog food, they give them cat food. Some of them, they want them to behave like dogs. Some of them, they give them raw meat to eat. Yes, there are stories like that. They give them raw meat to eat. They treat them like animals, basically. When they do those things, I feel like they do those things because it's just that power that they feel that, oh, yes, now I have this money. Now I have these connections. Now I know this so and so person that, oh, yeah, the poop in the mouth situation. Yes. So I don't think it's rage, basically. I think it's just that power. They've attained this level of power, and they feel like they're untouchable. They feel like, okay, now I'm in this position. I can do X, Y, Z. I know I can get away with it because at the end of the day, I'm going to be paying whoever, I decide to use for this particular extreme sport. So I don't know what you all think about that. Let me know if you want to share. All right. So let's speak with S Cuckoo. Where is she? Is she here? S Cuckoo was here. Okay, S Cuckoo is here. S Cuckoo, let's hear from you. Hi, you're welcome.
Hi, Glory. Hi, everyone. Happy Saturday.
You are
Oh my
welcome.
God.
Welcome.
I know it.
How are
Every
you?
yes, I'm good. I woke up. I saw as soon as I woke up, I looked at and I saw live. I was like, I hope I did not miss it.
We're here.
hmm Anyway, but I'm glad I was able to at least catch this conversation because this is like something that uh, not only does the public need to be sensitized because things like this, trust me, it does not just happen only in like the DD kind of circle. It happens
Mm-hmm.
in every kind of circle at different levels.
Mm-hmm.
And but first of all, your studio looks amazing. I have just been. It's like the vibe we can feel it
Thank
from
you.
all from out here, and it's such a
Thank you.
beautiful, beautiful space.
Thank you.
Anyway,
Thank you so much.
well, and then going back to this Didi's case, I think some people in the comment section, I think they were before I even talk about what I was going to say, some people were going back and forth about why people complaining that it's hard to leave such an abusive relationship and all of that. Some you cannot know how hard something is until you're in those shoes.
True.
And sometimes you don't want to leave because you want to just leave. You have to leave with a strategy.
Hmm.
So a lot of times, even be it in Africa, be it here in the US, you see a lot of people who might not leave immediately because they cannot just leave to what and where. You have to
Mm-hmm.
be able to find a strategy. You'll be surprised about how many people, how many women who still depend so much on their husbands, even here in the US. And think of like whose husbands maybe control everything. Was this other lady, the lady on New Jersey, Teresa? When she went to jail, she went to jail for something her husband did because her husband used to handle all the paperwork, all the affairs. And
Hmm.
because he'll bring something, she'll just sign here, and she went to jail because by association, her signature was
Wow.
on those legal documents.
Wow.
And
Wow.
so she should have done her own due diligence to read it. You cannot go to court and claim ignorance that you did not read before signing. You were supposed to read it before signing, so that's on you if you did not read it. So that's how she went to jail. She went to jail for fraud for her husband. Her husband did, uh, but and that's and during that time, that's why she even got divorced, because
Hmm.
not only did she lose a year from her children, she lost a year from her parents. Her mom died. When her dad was seriously sick. When she came back, she didn't even have much time with her father either.
Hmm.
That gave her so much resentment towards her husband, and eventually they got divorced because she could
Hmm.
not even stand the man because of what he had to make her go through. If he had made good decisions, she would not be in that situation. And she had depended so much on him, trusted him with everything, and that's the problem with a lot of relationships. It's like they trust the man or the husband to handle everything, that they don't even know what is happening. They don't even know how a light bill is paid. They don't even know what utilities companies they even that their home uses, because
Hmm.
their husbands handle everything. So when you are in such a situation or such a relationship that is abusive, sometimes before you even say, let me walk out, you have to figure out, where am I walking out to? You cannot,
Mm-hmm.
it's not like Africa where you call your grandma and say, I'm coming to stay in your house. You have to
Yeah.
figure out, where am I going to go from here?
Mm-hmm.
Am I going to have a roof? Am I going to be like in Los Angeles? We'll say, are you going to be on Skid Row, which is a homeless shelter, a
Yeah.
homeless a street where it's like pretty much it's like shelters. The people just put tents. It's like a bunch of homeless people just on that area.
Hmm.
And so sometimes it's like you can't just get up and walk out of certain relationships, because you need to be able to know that you have certain things in place. You have to plan an exit. You can't just irrationally just get up and go. You have to plan it. And I think that's what Cassie did. She let it, and she allowed it to go on for so long, because she said, like she said in court, and like I made a comment on your video yesterday. I said she admitted that she was, and which is one thing I applaud her for. She's taking accountability for her own part. She was in this. She knew that this man was going to help her attain a certain level of fame and stardom, and she thought it was going to work out that way. JLo
Mm-hmm.
was with Titi, and JLo became a big star. She too knew that if she's his girlfriend, she too will become a big star. So that's what she was looking at, and so she, she knew that she would become that big star. But unfortunately, things didn't work out for her the way it did for JLo, because of and I have a feeling that it's because of age. She was such a young person. JLo was not a young chicken, like a spring chicken like she was.
Mm-hmm.
So, but and JLo could make decisions for herself, be assertive in certain ways that she may not have been. She was naive for the most
Yeah.
part. When I listen to some of hers, to some of the things, or read when I read some of the things she said in court, and I'm like, this person, she was a child. She was 19, she was 21, 20, 19, 22. She was a young adult. She was barely just trying to find life.
Mm-hmm.
And she knew that if this person tells her, stand here, if you stand here, you can go to this place. She will stand there because she has seen how he has done it for other people. So she allowed it to happen, and she kept thinking, okay, if I keep sitting doing this, he'll make me the star that he promised that he will make me. To the point
Hmm.
where now it's like it's such a sad situation, because I don't even remember that even that she was even there for, as in, because of music. I remember her is as Diddy's girlfriend.
Hmm.
That is how sad this situation is. So sometimes give her give her some grace, and give other people who are in other abusive relationships some grace. Give them,
Mm-hmm.
because sometimes it is not just easy to just get up and leave a situation until you know what that you have plans in place. And eventually she did. She did leave. She did meet her husband. And then when it comes to the situation of why it took her so long to speak up about this, I feel like the Bill Cosby case and the R. Kelly case, these are cases that have probably gave her hope that there could be justice for people, for the victims.
Mm-hmm.
Because if these people had not come out, and if these other people had not come out and spoken, they will not. And she did not see the outcome of those cases. The cases, first of all, Bill Cosby and R. Kelly, the cases, whatever they went to jail for, is not completely what they were charged for. So, but at the same time, just knowing that these people were able to be taken to court and held in a public court as well, just gave her hope that if she speaks up, same thing can probably apply to her too. And she knew that there were a lot more people. You know what they say with this thing? There is power in numbers.
Mm-hmm.
When it came to Bill Cosby, is the power in the numbers that helped to put that man in jail? Because if it was just one person, it would just be. It was a long time ago. It has passed
Mm-hmm.
statute of limitations. Though you would have been hearing a lot of things, uh, things that would just eventually just throw the case out of court. But because there was power in numbers that helped to nail him and decide his fate. So Cassie probably took this long because she knew that by speaking with justice being achieved for these people, it may not be the way they originally envisioned it, but it was justice, or nevertheless, she knew that it could also be done for her.
Mm. True. Yeah. Thank you so much, Coco.
Sorry.
Thank you so much.
And then for
And I
family
was
members,
saying,
oh yeah, sorry, go ahead.
yeah. So I was saying that I actually agree with you that, okay, I can get some echo back. So I'm just going to mute you. I'll say something and then I'll mute you.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So I was saying that I actually agree with you about giving victims grace to tell their story. I feel like sometimes some portion of society can be very hypocritical. They keep on going on and on about, oh, come out, tell your story, let people know what you've been through, to serve as a learning curve to other people that might make that mistake of going into the same situation or walking the same path. Tell your story, but then people then come out and they tell their story, and you find some people trying to look for the most ridiculous ways to ridicule their experiences or, to gag them. And I just feel like it's so hypocritical. It doesn't really make sense, because she's the one that actually wore those shoes. She was the one that was actually in that situation. And it's so okay, not funny, but it's so shocking that from what she has shared inside the courtroom, there are videos of interviews of people who are victims, or some people that have possibly worked with Diddy in the past for many years. There are videos of interviews where they had actually shared similar or exact experiences which Cassie shared in the courtroom. So it's making me wonder, like, are these people that are criticizing her testimony, are they really doing their homework? Are they really doing their research to check to see if there's any corroboration of this story that she has told out there or not before they are even, tearing her apart for even sharing anything? On my video, I mentioned the live stream where this particular woman, she joined, obviously Black American, she joined and she's like, oh, everybody's tripping that Cassie stayed in that relationship for the money, that she's a hustler. She's saying in the relation the money. And I'm like, who will be in such a relationship for only the money, and you're getting beat up, you're getting peed upon, you're getting you're used, you're literally being treated like an animal. Even some animals even get better treatments than what Cassie described in that courtroom. So, how many people, not just women now, but both genders, how many people would stay in such a relationship for that long just because of the money? Like, make it make sense.
And what I do realize is sometimes someone like Cassie, I don't know her personally, but I have a feeling
Yeah.
being in a relationship with Diddy,
Yes.
she must have cut off her family and friends out for
Yeah.
for several years. So sometimes, a lot of times, and not only Cassie, but a lot of other people too. So sometimes it's the shame.
Yeah.
Um, it's like they feel ashamed to now maybe come out and say this is the situation. They feel like, what will people say? They feel like there is hope. They feel like at the same time, before I leave, I need to at least make sure I have something to walk away with to get to have a new life kind of situation. And
Mm.
so sometimes when some of these people come out, you have all these other people who probably, no matter what you do, people, one thing in life is people who are going to always talk.
Yeah.
Even if you do exactly what they say you should do, they will still talk. But people will always be people in society. What my grandma used to say, these five fingers are not, if you look at each of them, they are not the same. You need to have those people who are always going to make those comments on the side. You need to have the people who are going to be sane. You need to have the people who are going to actually be logical, and all of them is what is going to bring a conversation.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
Although at the same time, you wish everybody has some kind of common sense
True.
to be able to see the situation and be able, because there's no way you can say these horrible things that Cassie described in that courtroom was not horrible.
Mm-hmm.
But then
Mm-hmm.
when I listened to that, it was so shocking. It's like at some point I had to, when I read it, and then I had to stop, and then I had to come and read again. And at some point, it was like my body became numb. I could not understand how a human being was subjected to all of that.
Mm-hmm.
But then, then I had to remind myself, and I also watched. Is it Auntie Fumi the Saluvo video, one of her analysis one time, and one of the things that she said is what I had actually spoken to one of my friends about, that in as much as we these things are horrible, in as much as these things are distasteful is not even a strong enough word. Horrible is, I feel like, egregious, heinous, whatever. I don't know what other word to even use it to even make it seem, because horrible just makes it seem like a little thing that you just is just something minor. That's not the situation here. And in as much as these are all this to them, in morally speaking, this is this is the worst I've ever heard things like this described. I feel like this is even worse than Bill Cosby's accusations. And I thought I had seen it all with Bill Cosby. And so
Okay.
when I hear something like this, it makes me to feel like, okay, I have to remind myself, this is what are these actions in the in the courtroom. What we have, there is what is legal and what is moral. If it's legal, what he did might not be illegal, but morally speaking, it is not good, right? So some of these people who speak, I think they are trying to explain the fact that while it might not be morally acceptable, it is not legally, it is not like illegal to do. So it's not something that in a courtroom you can you can technically prove beyond all reasonable doubt. Which brings me to my point of the saying, I wish w- they they also in the next court sessions go on to the next stages, because in a court case the plaintiff has to build the case, and in building the case, especially in a jury case, you have to first of all paint the defendant that you're trying to that you're talking about in such a way that it makes him look horrible, which is exactly what they're doing. So I give A plus across the board, because the plaintiff is doing exactly what they were supposed to do. Because by putting Cassie on that stand and having her, even in her condition, and having her describe everything that happened, will in a long way paint Diddy in such a horrible state that now all they need to do is, in the next sessions, is just to cement that impression,
Hmm.
prove beyond all reasonable doubt. And that's always the key thing, which is what kills a lot of cases, is not being able to prove beyond all reasonable doubt. What they will eventually focus on, what they're doing now is just building the kind of character that Diddy had. He will not go to jail for having golden shower on Cassie. That is not going to send him to jail. What will send him to jail is that abuse that we saw in that video.
Hmm.
But to get to the abuse we saw in that video, they need to paint this character of Diddy as this person who abused the power that he had.
Hmm.
So that is why he has to. They have to paint him in this way, so that when now they present the facts about the abuse, how he dragged her on the ground as if she was some kind of luggage that he was just pulling on the ground, in that, and hit her across the wall, dragging her through the hotel lobby or hotel hall, as if she's nothing. That is what is going to send him to jail.
Hmm.
But they cannot introduce that until they paint him to be this horrible person first.
True.
And while we might not be, so for people who claim, I've read some people say the way they are going about this, they might lose the case because he's not going to be nailed on this. This is not what is they are there for. This week is to paint, is to create this character of who Diddy is, and
Yeah.
before they introduce the real case, which is the abuse
Yeah.
itself, the RICO and all of that, that one will be very, very difficult to prove it in itself. What they will also nail him on is the possession of drugs and things they found in his possession.
Hmm.
So those are the things that they will use to nail. But to get there, they need to first of all paint him in such a way. I just hope that they give people do not attack his children too much, because
Yeah.
when his daughters left the courtroom, I did not look at it like, oh, they did not want to listen to what was said. Most of the time family members show up in court to support their family members. So them walking out of court after listening to what Cassie was saying was putting themselves as a woman in Cassie's shoes. That's how I looked at it. And saying, I am here to support my father, but if this is what you did, I cannot sit here to support you. That is what how I looked at it. But then I can also see why or how another person would look at it, like they could not handle the information they were hearing about their father, and they did not want to continue hearing it. That I can also see. But I felt like showing up to court was to support their father, and walking out was showing in public that, you know what, we were supporting you, but we are now cutting this. We cannot anymore. Or I'm hoping that that is what I understood is what is actually the situation. Yeah, so I'm patient. I'm not rushing into to see how this case unfolds. This is just the first phase. I need to see how the next week goes, how they will introduce the other cases that actually hold the meat of the case. This first week is just this is appetizer. This is not what is going to send him to jail. So I'm waiting for how they will but they've done an amazing job in painting this character of Didi so far, and I cannot wait to see the next phase. And somebody like me, I'm coming from a family which is heavily in legal background. It's like I love when when I have to go through and hear and we analyze things like this, because it helps the public to also understand how situations are actually in handled. It's
Mm,
easy to just assume that, oh, they filed these charges, he will go to court, go to jail. It's not just that easy.
mm. Okay.
But so far the defense is doing an amazing job. Thank you so much for bringing light to this and helping people to
Mm.
understand it as well.
Thank you so much, Ruku. Thank you so much for bringing another perspective to the conversation. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. All right. We're going to speak to Fortune. Fortune is the last person we will speak to for tonight. Of course, we'll continue at that time, but let's hear from Fortune. Hello, sis. You're welcome.
Hey, thank you so much. Hi, Glory. Hi, everybody. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you. You're welcome.
Ah, good, good. I was there in the comment section, but I just thought let me come here and share a little story of mine, a very sad story about this thing, right? That's happening
Yeah,
now.
go ahead.
So, most of the things I could say about the cases, people responding to what Casey has said has already been said. But I just want to share a small story about my background with the love of Didi, right? So
Mm,
in the 90s, we used to listen to a lot of this music, right?
mm-hmm.
I don't know if Channel O is still there. I don't know if it's still there, but there was a time we had this Channel
Yes.
O. They used to show all the R&B. They had MTV Base. We used to watch all that. So we lived in an area where we got a satellite dish earlier than other people. So music
Mm-hmm.
was a big thing, which it always is in society. People want to know the latest. So
Yes.
we used to play our Channel O very loud. So I made lots of friends with people that used to ask me to record for them on a you know, that VCR thing that had a very big tape. They used to buy those things. And overnight,
Mm-hmm.
I used to record all the channel all for them, right? So I got to
Yes.
listen to a lot of music, bad boy music, faith events, all of those things. I got very engrossed and I started liking Diddy. And my friend and myself, we even shared amongst ourselves. I said, I would take Mace because he looked more appealing, and she took Didi. But we liked them both, you know, in a nutshell. I grew up
Mm.
idolizing this guy. I remember telling my friends that if this guy says, come to the USA and be my PA, I will go. I didn't know that I was missing out on being peed on. I'm so happy because I cannot be on my face. I was prepared to do anything because you know when you look at their lives, that lifestyle, there's a season where they were wearing only white and red sneakers, and
Mm.
we didn't have money. And I was wishing for this life. I was like, oh my God, if anybody could just give me just this life. I'm saying all of this to say I can see how Casey would have fallen for this because I would be Casey today. When I see her, I see me. All of these things, I could easily be her because the power these people have, just being associated, even I'm sure to even just be polishing his shoes is clout, it's
Mm-hmm.
hype in that environment, in that industry, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when they started talking about this guy, that oh, this guy is the devil, this I was even slightly old. I was just like, you guys are just, it's just rumors. But when you start
Mm.
hearing it now live from somebody that has gone through it, you're like, oh my goodness, you know, all that glitters is not gold. And
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's all this money that gives these guys power that they really don't know what to do with the power. That
Mm-hmm.
when you've done everything else, you literally have to think of the unthinkable to do to another person to just show that stamp of power that I am on top. And this, I will do the things that you should say no to, and you won't say no to them because you find me superior, right? I guess
Mm-hmm.
that's what happened in this case. And in terms of my opinion, it changes all the time. I've been following a lot of what Casey has been talking about. It depends. If I hear something, I don't want to lie to you, I'm very upset with her because I count 11 years, I multiply 11 years by 12 months, and by 4 to count how many Saturdays are in there, it's a long time. I'm like, there could be so many chances a person could have lived, right? But like somebody said, you don't know unless you really are in their shoes. There are so many
Yeah.
people that are in very abusive relationships with very broke men, but they are there. The reason is
Mm-hmm.
only known to the person that is there. Are they plotting
True.
a strategy to leave? Do they just want to be there because they've been told that it's not better out there? The reasons are endless, and they are very subjective to a person depending on the position they are in. And adding a layer to this, she's an immigrant. It takes your rights away. In some of these countries where everybody has 100% of rights, you could have a perspective that your rights are only 50% of what's there because you're an immigrant, right? So
Yes.
it's multi-layered, and it's quite unfortunate, but I can see how if I was in the US, I swear I could be this girl. I probably would have just stayed forever because, first of
Mm-hmm.
all, it's Diddy, it's just the being associated with him, how much power it potentially can give you, and perhaps the
Mm-hmm.
money,
Mm-hmm.
all of those things. It's a very sad situation that we find ourselves here, but I suppose there are so many cases out there that are even upset that she's talking about this because they don't want
Yeah.
this thing talked about because they've been paid enough to shut up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there's so many. So bringing it outside is very good. It's a very important conversation to have because it teaches the younger me that don't wish for this, work for your own money, give yourself the future you want, because this one that Didi gives you comes with showers of pee, and we don't want that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all of these lessons that I've learned, and I want to keep following it. It's just so long, but I would like to see where it ends because, like Eskuku said, this is literally just scratching the surface. We haven't even started talking about the real crimes that Didi has
Yes.
committed. It's just them trying to characterize the guy to say, when you hear later in the months, just know that this guy is the person that will pee and choke a person on pee or pay for people to come and do all these things. No, that was shocking for me. I think that was the part that I was like, it does it because I mean that's inhumane treatment,
Hmm.
you know. And it's the part I got very upset with Casey, and I may have felt like these other people to say a person can only pee on you once.
Hmm.
Glory, it can't continue. But there are so many reasons which you have laid out. So many people, Mabato also mentioned it. So many
Hmm.
that we cannot say she should have left. If you go into a situation like that, you leave. But she was probably plotting a way out and stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
oh my God, they fall from grace. This Didi, I used to have posters. He was like a king. Right now, it's over for him
For real. For
in
real.
my eyes. You
I
know?
mean, fortune, yeah, fortune. You see this thing about when Cassie shared that part of the peeing thing, a lot of people did not know how to make it make sense. And then during her testimony, from questions she was asked, she mentioned that most of the time he chose what she wore, he chose
Mhm.
what she looked like, even the haircut. I saw a video
Mhm.
of I think it was his former security that said they were at the club. He was looking up at some woman, and then the next thing he turned to Cassie and said, "You're definitely getting that haircut." And that was the first time Cassie cut off an entire side of her hair. It was just like that. She cut the hair the very next day. It was like
Mhm.
whatever you want, pop, pop, and she cut the hair. And a lot of people were like, "Oh, that's so weird. How did she allow a man to control her to that extent?" I'll tell you a short story. And this one was live and direct I had an encounter with a woman, a grown woman. At the time, I was 27, and this woman was in her late 30s, I guess, because she was way older than me. So something happened, something happened. I don't want to go into the details too much, but it resulted in her she was spiraling, she had like a mental breakdown and she was yelling. It was a very volatile situation. And she was yelling like, this guy in question, do you know what I have done for this guy to be with this guy? And I was just watching. It was like she was going to attack me over something, but she was saying that I've had to cut my hair for this guy multiple times. I've had to dress like a man for this guy multiple times. I've had to commit many abortions for this guy. I've had to act like 1,000 women over the course of 5 years for this man. By 1,000 women, what she means is today you'll be like, it's boring if you're still who you are. I want you to take on a new persona. So she behaves like different people every single time she meets up with this guy. Now, I'll just give you like a skeleton of the situation, right? She's with this guy. This man has a family, he has kids, right? But then they met in another country. So she became a girlfriend to the guy. And the guy made some sort of promises like, if you can be what I want exactly, I will leave my family for you. So she started living according to what he wants. He's a freak. He loves doing what Diddy does. I don't know if it's in details, but that's what she said. He loves having orgies. She's the one that gets to bring the orgies. I mean, now we're talking about the Diddy story. I'm remembering this one. She's the one that brings the girls. She's the one that brings the guys, and they do all those many things together. So she gets really offended if this guy by himself meets another woman that he likes. She goes crazy. So what I'm trying to say here is it's not abnormal that people pee in people's mouths, because there are people that actually get a kick out of it, right? And there are women that actually willingly do it, sometimes unwillingly, but there are women that actually willingly do it because they are afraid of the consequences if they don't allow themselves to be humiliated in that way.
Mhm, mhm. I
Yeah.
agree. I agree. I don't know if there's any that do like it, but you're right. Their tolerance for it differs depending on the repercussions of doing or not,
Yes.
performing the act. And in this
Yes.
case, the incentive for this particular woman you're talking about, the incentive was huge. He was going to leave all of those people and now come and be just with us like this.
Mm.
Yeah, I think it's just a messed up world. And I guess even the definition of messed up, a person could listen to us and think we're boring because that's what Didi said to Casey.
Mm.
He said, no, you're very boring, very vanilla. All of this is very predictable. We need to switch things up. It's things like that. So, I
Yeah.
mean, it's different strokes for different folks. But yeah, I suppose for me, really in closing, this thing where people are commenting and it's very weird for us to listen to. And I've also made a few comments where people will be like, are you not sensitive to the woman? People are saying this out of shock, Glory. The reactions
Mm.
we're getting, it's a mixture of shock and impulse where a person is listening to all these things coming from the person that received
Mm-hmm.
this treatment. People are just trying to internalize everything and be like, we are allowed to ask, but why did you stay? We can then
Mm.
reconcile the answer much later, but the immediate response at that time is, I would have left. That's people will be like, I would never stay for this. So I guess with time, people will probably reconcile all of these and make it make sense. She doesn't have to give us too many answers. She's done and she's been paid. I think her job here is done. It's
Mm.
over. But for the next maybe person that's in a situation like this, maybe it's things that they can now try to ask themselves the question if they are in this to say, can I leave? Should I leave? Because there's so many people that are in
Mm.
this, but just different degrees because the level of wealth is different, the level of
Mm.
influence is different. So I
Yes.
think maybe that could be the only reason why you're seeing all of these weird comments online. You'll be like, are these people thinking? It's some of it is ignorance, some of it is lack of even knowledge, okay, to even know, okay, what's grooming. People don't know that. So when people
Mm-hmm.
start talking of grooming, people are like, oh, really? Maybe it has even happened to them. People don't know. So these conversations, though, they keep all of these things alive and they educate other people. Because I saw somebody asking on another live to say, what exactly is grooming? They didn't know that if a person touches the side of your boob, next time they will get close to the nipple, they've been
Mm-hmm.
testing you, increasing the temperature each and every time so that by the time they grapple
Absolutely.
everything, it's normal. So
Mm-hmm.
thanks for allowing us to even have these conversations. And
Thank you.
yeah, let's hope that we can have another one when there's a bigger bombshell, because I suspect this coming week they will probably also bring something new that we can speak
Mhm.
about, and hopefully not so much this one with the DV, because I
Mhm.
think I've had enough for 2025 on this.
All right. Thank you so much, Fortune. Thank you so much for joining and sharing your very apt perspective. Thank you so much.
No problem, Glory. Have a nice weekend. We'll chat again
You
soon.
too, sis. Thank you so much. Okay. All right, guys. I think we've actually had a very thorough analysis of this conversation, Cassie's testimony, and the entire trial in itself. Though we just started, but there's still more to come and more to discuss. And of course, I will keep putting out videos, and we will still have more live conversations like this where we get to come together and, analyze and exchange knowledge, because I have really learned a lot from this conversation that we just had. And I cannot wait for us to do another one. All right. So thank you all so much for tuning in, for your contributions, to everybody that contributed today. Thank you so much. Either you spoke with me, to us, or you are sharing your opinion in the comment section. You are highly appreciated. Thank you so much for tuning in. I will see you guys on another video. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Have a pleasant weekend and have an amazing time out. Bye.